Kevin, it's with some trepidation
Yeah.
that we go to broadcast tonight for our recording. There's no run sheet. We're going off the fly, off the vibes, pal. I'm gonna pass to you. You've got something to tell our listeners.
Yeah. So, um, I have the unfortunate news that this episode of Elite Heat will be our last episode of Elite Heat. I have to step away from the podcast. Um, so Jimmy talked about this last week at in Around the World, basically where he was like, "My life's so busy, I I can't commit to this, I can't record. I was just showing up to record and I'm out. And I'm kind of feeling that way right now too, where like my life has changed a lot in the past and like 6 months. I've had I've talked about the craziness where I left my parents' house and moved into my own place on the fly. Um, just a lot of things are changing, and adulting and like real life responsibilities are just becoming too much. And the main reason why, like, I'm not saying that I'm too busy for this podcast, but the main reason why I have to step away is because I want to do this right. And I can't do it the right way. I can't commit to creating 5 to 7 clips a week with excellent thumbnails, clickable thumbnails, and, editing the podcast platform, promoting it properly so we can, take off. I can't commit to doing that right now. I have so many other things going on. I want to start a family soon. I got a new job coming up. Got a lot of stuff going on. Like when you and I started this podcast, it was what, like the beginning of 2021. I was like 24 years old as a kid. I was a young kid, pal. I'm getting older and responsibilities are coming, and it's like, for me, it came down to a choice: is if I got to continue doing this podcast or my Wrestling Uncovered channel. And hearing your conversation, hearing you talk about this last week, kind of help make that choice easier for me, because I was thinking like, okay, if I'm gonna choose to go all in, no pun intended, on the Elite Heat podcast, and then in 3 months' time you have all this stuff going on and you can't commit, then what am I doing? And what are we doing collectively? If we both can't put 100% in, it doesn't make sense anymore. For me, at least, just come on here and click record and talk for an hour and then spend an hour editing, and that's kind of it. And then I don't look at it anymore, or think about it. Um, I hardly have time to watch wrestling as it is. I was planning on watching All Out. We were planning on doing an All Out review. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch All Out on Tuesday when I get home from work. Got home from work, had a million things to do. That just were sprung up on me. Never got a chance to watch All Out. Then yesterday, my mom is like, "Oh, I'm not feeling too good. I need you to take me to the doctor." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Hey, look at that. Real life is in the way." So it just, I don't want to say that this podcast was becoming a chore, because that would not be the right word. But I just can't do it the right way. So, yeah, it's not goodbye forever. You and I will be back at some point. Who knows when that'll be? Maybe we'll be back in 5 years, pal, with a brand new name, brand new setting, pal. We'll be in a studio in Australia. Who knows? Maybe I'll land some crazy remote job in Australia, and you and I will be able to tape in a studio, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I got to say for now.
Yeah, and what a lot of it does come back to is doing it the right way, which is sort of the
Yes.
thing, right? Which really, so speaking on my end, but I mean, a lot of this overlaps with you as well. 2020, I mean, COVID lockdowns, everyone is so available. Watching wrestling and making content on wrestling is basically all, I know for me personally, all I had to do at that stage. And I mean, you weren't too dissimilar. And then a lot of our listeners as well were like, a lot of listeners had, yeah, besides, maybe a thing or two going on in their personal life, was watch wrestling, watch content on wrestling, engage with content on wrestling. And that was sort of the thing. And yeah, 4 years ago, 2020. 2021 was similar. I know for me, 2020, I was in the 12th grade, but like half the year, you didn't have to go to school. It was just sort of like you were just at home, just sitting around watching wrestling, pal. And 2021, yeah, when we got this going later in the year, what have you, well, it was actually, no, it was the start of 2020. It was like the very beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
When we're doing this, it's like, yeah, well, wrestling's like our main thing that we're doing just about. And like making content is like the thing, watching wrestling, content on wrestling. And like the priority's up here because like you don't have many other commitments or responsibilities or what have you. But really, I mean, as I was explaining last week and around the world, I'm not going to rehash the whole lot of that. Is like you find as you get older and you take on more and you do more responsibilities and whatever, it goes from top of the tree. And for me, it would just slowly slip down the rungs. And for me, even doing the JTE channel, slip down. Like I put a late heat above doing the JTE, and then for both of the content creation and wrestling things, I was like, if I've got all these other things, I'll put that on the back burner or whatever. As you say, for you, jump on. It's not just what I do. Where for me, wake up at 3:30, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to record for an hour, and then hop off, forget about it, whatever. I'll edit the thumbnail. I'll do some description stuff and some tags like a day or two later. With you, you're clipping stuff, you're producing, pal. You're trying to promote it a bit, So realistically, it's the feasibility of making this good, which is because we want it to be good. We could well trudge on for next few weeks, months, next year, and it's just sort of like what it is a bit at the moment. It's like, okay, we'll post the one thing a week, or maybe one of us will clip some stuff, and there'll be 2 or 3 clips, but it's inconsistent. And there's no consistency of the thumbnails. It's not really promoted, and it's good content, but it's not really getting out there because it's not like the machine isn't really in place to pump it out the right way. And like that's sort of where it's at. Obviously, with you now taking on, I mean, all the things you're going with at the moment, because you're what 27,
28 now.
Yeah, like, and I've found this. I've been watching people on YouTube. So I'm now 21. I've been watching people on YouTube since I was like 8, 9 years old. People who were 20 at the time I started watching them, but now they're like in their 30s. Life rolls on, right? And so for us, I'll still keeping tabs on wrestling. But really, like the big thing is finding the time to watch wrestling. Is on my end where things have gotten quite difficult, because with all the different things I do, find time to sit down and watch a show, watch highlights, really analyze things, listen to media, look at coverage. Like it's just like the time isn't there anymore, which is what I found. I mean, for you, with what you're explaining, and half this you explained off camera about how how you're not barely sleeping at the moment, all these different things you've got, and it's like, well, yeah, like I can't, and no one can fault it. If Kevin can't have the hour needed to watch most of Monday Night Raw to discuss it. Like you just don't have the capacity, and that's totally that's fine. Like that's just what happens. So
yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. Like I'm not sleeping, like you said. I haven't been sleeping consistently, man. I'm lucky since I moved out of my parents. I'm lucky if I sleep like 5-6 hours a night. If I get 6 hours, I'm happy. On the rare like Saturday, I'll sleep for like 8-9 hours just because I'm so exhausted. I literally can't get up. Like, my job is super physically demanding too, and I start every day. at 5:30, 6 in the morning, and I'm on my feet. I'm lifting. I'm doing heavy lifting, and I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this anymore. It's not sustainable, like for life. It was good. I made some money. I got some experience, but I'm looking to move on to a more serious, like a more serious position, and that's just gonna eat away time too. And it gets like eventually, when you got, I mean, some of our younger listeners, you'll hit, even you, Jimmy, you'll hit this age too, where you kind of have to put everything that's important to you in a box, and you have to make time for them. Like I have to schedule time to just like sit on the couch and do nothing, for like an hour. Like I literally have to write in my planner. All right, gonna play GTA 5 tonight for an hour. You know, just to have some me time. You know, or like go for a walk. Even like I'm planning that out. You know. And I mean, you're not a homeowner, right? You live with your parents.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, so that's probably the number one thing that's changed. Having my own place, and I'm looking to buy a house next year. That's the goal when my lease is up in the place I'm renting. I'm looking to buy a house, so everything that comes with that, like I'm gonna be talking to like 6 different realtors, and then what? Oh, hold on, bro. I can't talk about this house. I gotta go record All Out 2024 preview. You know, I gotta record Revolution 2024 review, pal.
How you got to discuss Bash of Berlin's match card and the flow, and whether a match will be 3.5 stars or 4 stars.
Right. And to be frank, like if we were making like $3,000 a month in revenue, like we would do this. But neither one of us can commit that effort to get us to that point. You know? So how are we going to get there if we can't commit the effort, you know? Like if we were getting big ad reads, if we had like Viagra ads like Shannon Sharp, and we're getting like $2,000, we're getting paid like $2,000 for like a month's worth of ad reads, I'd be like, all right, yeah, why would we ever want to quit this, you know? But like we're just at a point where it's like, you know, like I don't know, it's just it's just tough. Like I was so tired too after last week's podcast that we recorded for like an hour and 45 minutes. I literally, after we hung up, I went like this and just nodded up, like fell asleep at my desk. My girlfriend came and woke me up. Like, hey, you coming to bed? Like, you all right? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here sleeping on my desk, you know?
Yeah.
On top of that too, I'm studying, I'm taking an exam that I need. So like I thought I finished my degree, and they were like, oh wait, you need a Spanish language degree or a Spanish language credit. And I'm like, really, bro? You kidding me? Like, I need a Spanish language credit. So I have to study now. So now I come home, I got to study every day for the Spanish exam. Because, you know, like, yes, I speak Spanish, but I speak Puerto Rican Spanish. They test you on Spanish from Spain, which is like a whole completely different thing, you know? Like, so I'm coming home studying for like an hour a day on top of that too, for this exam that I need for my degree. And I'm like, bro, this is a waste of time. I don't want to swear, but this is a freaking waste of time. Completely useless to do, like, but no, you know, now I can't work on stuff for my channel. I can't have dinner with my family. Got to study for the Spanish exam, pal, or else I'm not gonna get my degree. You know, so I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. Like to give you an example, when I say that Puerto Rican Spanish is different than Spanish from Spain, typically in Spanish you call a bug a bicho, right? In Puerto Rico, that means a part of the male species that Shannon Sharp is using on Instagram. So, you know, in Puerto Rico, we call a bug, pal. You know, like we say like popcorn, we say hot dog. Like they speak Spanglish. They speak like English, pretty much. It's part of America. So I'm reading these words. Like I've never heard of half these words that I'm seeing, and I'm like, bro, I'm too old to be learning a new language now. On top of this, it's just yeah, I was up to like midnight studying last night, and then I gotta get up at 5 for work, and I'm like, bro, I gotta watch All Out, do Elite Heat content. I'm just overloaded, bro. I'm overloaded. Then I got this job calling me, making me offers, and I'm like, bro, I can't even. Right now, I'm about to fall asleep in this chair as we're doing this.
Yeah. So look. And I know the other thing that naturally comes up when you post, we'll post this, and you know the comments and whatever. I mean, I can speak on mine. I'm doing great. It's not like a thing of, oh my God, just because you want to post wrestling videos, you're doing like just struggling mentally, or like you're doing bad with your health, or things are really like, no, it's priorities are out of order. Probably on my end, I'm going to now look, because I mean, I have most of October off of work. Probably, don't hold me to this, I have capacity now to do JTE content again to some capacity. So that's now what's probably going to happen. Just like a
Awesome.
heads up. Because I've got capacity to, I'll have time to fill in, and that's when I'll create. That's when I create content. When you really have to like schedule in, you only got like an hour and a half in a day where you got 15 hours. You only got like an hour and a half to do content potentially if you want to. I don't end up doing it most of the time, like most people, but yeah. So that could be that could well be happening, but yeah, just well, I will say, well, what a fun couple of years as
Oh
far as
yeah.
making content. Some of the content we've
Hold
made
on.
has been,
Before we go down memory lane,
yeah.
I want to talk on like I want to touch on the behind the boards of podcasting too. And another reality of podcasting that has dawned upon me in the past like year or so, I want to say. Podcasting is not a thing anymore. Like the day and age where you can blow up off of just making a podcast is kind of gone. Like that was maybe like 5-6 years ago. Like, when Joe Rogan was coming up, like he just started doing what we're doing in front of no listeners, and people started watching all of a sudden. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But now everyone and their mother's doing a podcast. People that are already famous. Carmelo Anthony has a podcast. Paul George, Travis Kelce, all these singers.
Angel Reese has a podcast. Of course he does.
Angel Reese, Jalen Brunson. Like, podcasting is a game. Like, for example, for the best way for our podcast to be popular is if JT Wrestling Uncovered, both of our channels blew up. We both had whatever 150,000 subscribers each and over that. Then you and I, we team together. Okay, we're going to have this super podcast of super wrestling YouTubers, Then our podcast would be successful. Because people know who we are already as individuals. Like what we're doing now is, statistically, we're at an extremely high rate of never being seen. Just because, like I was saying, everyone and their mother's doing podcasts now. People that are, like, podcasting has become a game that famous people are doing as hobbies, Does Carmelo Anthony need to do a podcast? Does he need to make whatever he's making in ad revenue a year? No. He's just doing it because he can. And it's taking away from small creators like us. When you've got guys like Travis Kelce flooding up the market. Everyone and their mother, Angel Reese, like you said. And we're just talking about basketball people. Like everybody's doing podcasts. Gordon Ramsay, I think, has a podcast. And it's like, how are we as small creators ever going to get found when famous people are starting podcasts every day? It's like, it's just not, this is not like the way anymore, like I was saying with Joe Rogan, he's talking in front of nobody, and then eventually people start listening. That way of getting found is pretty much gone, and it sucks. And it was a sad reality that I kind of had to come head on with,
Yeah, I never really thought of it like that, in fairness. But I mean, you're dead on. Because realistically, I mean, the content we make, and I mean, a lot of listeners will back this. It's good content, like as far as entertainment value, opinion, what we're bringing to the table, different stuff like that. But it's capacity and room for that to pop off. And obviously, once again, the commitment required to make that happen is really the sort of thing which is a bit like, because as I say, I mean, not to do the full trip down memory lane sort of thing, but yeah, like some of the stuff we made, especially last year, I thought was incredible content. Like some of the debates, some of the the rants, some of the content, the reviews, the takes. I know recently Ishan, shout out, went back to our Elimination Chamber 2023 live stream review where I was freaking out because you were saying that if Roman Reigns was as good as people say he is, he wouldn't need Jey Uso's help to win the match, and the match wasn't close to 5 stars, and them having a big argument of what's a 5-star match, and it was like a 20-minute heated debate that there's like 20 people in the chat losing their mind over this, and we're both just like yelling. Some of that's just fun. Like that's just fun content. It's easy. It's entertaining content. It's something we did. We do very well. And someday we'll pick up again. Fingers crossed. But yeah, for the moment, it's a bit like just reality is reality. Especially with you can barely find 4 hours straight to sleep with everything that's going on. So because the initial plan today was we're going to sit down and do our all-out review. We're going to discuss, Raw being 2 hours, soon. SmackDown's new logo. Triple H can't put a foot wrong. Shannon Sharp's like sex noises on Instagram. All this sort of stuff.
But we still are going to discuss all those things, though. We still are. We are going to discuss all those things
tonight. Yeah, but like, the reality of just life, pal. This is what it is. I found this particularly that first like 6-7 months of the year I had. Where I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not even like doing all the, household errands, trying to arrange real estate, trying to cook dinner for myself every night. Like, and that wasn't even a thing for me. And I was still like, I actually didn't have time to function because I was doing that much. So,
bro, you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be able to do the podcast either if you had rent to pay and they were like, and you were like trying to cook for yourself every night and clean your house and host parties. Yeah, bro, you would be like, you'd be going nuts too. Another thing too, another sad reality that I had to come head on with too. And I'm going to speak very bluntly about us as a podcast for a moment. I'm going to ask you this question. We didn't go over this beforehand, so I'm throwing this at you in real time.
Yep.
And I had to think about this, and I want you to think about this.
Yeah.
Are we washed? And before you answer that, I'm going to tell you why I was thinking this.
Yeah.
I feel like we peaked in 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we walked away. We stopped making content at our peak. Like, you were at peak JTE where you were like the next up in the wrestling YouTube community, You had a really big community. Ton of people still, if you posted tomorrow, people would still comment. People still care about your content. You still have a connection with people that I don't have, And I was on Twitter. I was getting big on Twitter. I was known as the guy that hates the Miz and the crazy guy, the guy with the rants, the drunk rants. Like I had, you and I both had our niches. I was in like a million group chats on Twitter. We were both interacting with a lot of people in different ways, and we came together and we did this podcast and we had 60 people. We were talking about this off air. We had 60 live viewers on our first live stream or whatever it was. Maybe we peaked at like 70. I don't know what it was, 50.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of comments, we had all this. We had, bro, on Spotify, we were doing 30, 40, 50, 60. We had 2 episodes hit 100 downloads, 100 plays. And we walked away and stopped making content for like a year. You stopped doing JTE completely. I stopped doing my own individual content. We did half-ass live. We did like 4 half-ass live streams all of 2022. We stopped posting on Spotify. And then now are we just like parodies of what we were at one point? Like you're not doing your JTE stuff. You don't have your community. I'm not doing my stuff on Twitter anymore. I'm barely posting on Twitter. I don't have time. I'm barely posting on Twitter. I don't have people don't know me anymore. I kind of got played out because they were like, "Oh, this guy has bad takes. Get this guy out of here." Like, did we just fumble an opportunity? I was thinking about this. Did we fumble an opportunity where we could have gone big at that point if we had kept going?
Potentially, but how I view it was the same time. At the time, on my like wrestling's this is like late 2021. Like last few months of 2021 is when I sort of took the foot off the gas pedal on my own channel, and then 2022 it just like really slowed. And as you say, what happened there. When wrestling was as bad as it was, and for that like really the 9-month period from like October 2021 through until Triple H taking over, I'm like, I said, I can't do this. Like, as okay, if I made a video, like the whatever, a couple of videos I made. There was the one like ranking Roman Reigns' title defenses, which had like this amazing thumbnail. I got literally like 60,000 views. And I posted a video in the next couple of days. It got like 25,000. And then my 48 hourly analytics on JT were bonkers and whatever. Like, yeah, that was great. But like when I'm looking at the products, going like, there's nothing here in good faith and passion I want to discuss.
Bingo.
So why? And yeah, in my case, yeah, okay, you could have trudged on and spend the next, 1, 2, 3 years posting JTE videos and whatever. Just, I guess, because I mean they do good numbers on a screen. But if I'm not really happy about it, then what's the point? Like if it's not fun, what's the point? Because that was the sort of thing with my channel personally. I got to like 8.3K subs or 8.4K subs, whatever it was, around this time, like late 2021, early 2022. And then around WrestleMania 38 season, I was like, okay, I'll post a couple of videos about like, these guys, the future of WWE with like Bron Breakker and Carmelo Hayes. And here's a video about WrestleMania 28 once in a lifetime, like a fun 7-minute retrospective, and post a couple of content, got 3, 4, 5,000 views, whatever, good engagement. But really, to me, it's like, well, it's just more stuff. Stuff I can be doing my time I'm going to enjoy. And not even stuff that's like, going out parties, get drunk, pal. Like, no, like just like, community stuff, community Australian rules footballs, time with friends, whatever other stuff I've done, all this other business, playing or administration stuff or like network, whatever. I just rather, and so, to answer, to build on what you were saying, if like we didn't take the foot off the pedal, whatever, sure, could we be sitting with, 10K subs on the Elite Heat channel and my channel's got like 90K and your Twitter's got like one of the biggest in the wrestling community and your wrestling company? Maybe, yeah. But most of the time, wouldn't have been happy getting there. It would have just been something you do to do. And yeah, the number could look good on the screen, but that was my thing. Like, what's the difference between having 8.4K subs and having 21.2K on a screen, on an analytics dashboard? I know I'm a good YouTuber. I know people like what I say and find me entertaining. I know I can make good videos. I know that. Like, listeners know that. Like, I mean, same with you. People like know you can, make good journalistic style videos. You cover drama and scandal quite well. All this sort of thing that you're good at. It's like you don't really like love doing it and like want to make that your thing, your number one above all else. When life gets in the way, are you going to do that above all other priorities and commitments? No. That's what it boiled down to. And 2022, I couldn't watch. I couldn't watch WWE. It was so bad. AEW wasn't much better. Like the CM Punk MJF stuff was cool, but outside of that, not a whole lot was going on to spark me. And I was just like, what's the point? Why bother? Like, I can make a video on Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey's face off. I don't care. Why? Like, I knew a video about Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal's sword fight. What's the point? Drew McIntyre's feuding with Baron Corbin as like the co-main storyline. What am I going to discuss here? Drew McIntyre's rise and fall. I don't care. I don't want to sit down. I don't want to spend 3 hours making this video, editing, flooding my computer with clips, screenshotting things, downloading a million pictures. My computer then the storage hits its limit. Delete all the storage. I've already got nearly 9K.
Yeah.
Me making, and this is my case. This is when I worked full time from 2021 onwards. So it wasn't like a thing. This is my source of income. Like, no, I worked a government job. Like, government jobs pay, in some cases, a bit too much than they should, So, like, a bunch of money. So it's like, okay, well, why am I doing this? Is it because I love watching Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre, and I love watching what the average shows WWE and AEW put out each week? Not really. Do I love making content? Sure. At times. Is it a chore a lot of the time? Yeah, that's what I found. And, in the podcast case, I love recording with Kevin. Chatting to you, engaging with the audience after the fact, great. Making some very clickable, fun content, But the grind of watching the show, the grind of producing, or you did producing the podcast, but you can make my own content, producing that, the grind of promoting the content, the grind of doing it properly. To me, I was just like, I don't feel the need to. That was me. I mean, you're obviously different. I mean, you're in a different situation, have been the last couple of years, but similar in the fact of the passion of wrestling. When you have, you're like old relationship going on, among other things you were doing in your life when you're in your mid-20s, your job, everything, your social life, bouncing all the balls in the air, then you were looking at going, yeah, I could watch Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair and make a video on that, or I could really dig into the archives and spend an hour and a half finding a clip from the Ruthless Aggression Era to post on my Twitter to get some more likes. But like,
exactly. Yeah.
Numbers are numbers. If you're not happy doing it, what's the point? That was my thing. So
yeah. Right. No, and numbers aside, what I mean when I was thinking like, oh, are we washed? Like, we had a buzz, you know. You and I had a buzz, and then we took like a 9-month hiatus, and we just stopped posting, and people just moved on. They're like, oh, okay, whatever. And those people haven't thought about us since in like 2 years that were listening to us, you know.
That's fine.
And you know, I was like I was thinking like it's hard to recapture that magic, you know. We had a lot of magic going. We had a big community, and now it's all kind of gone. Like you're one of the few people that I keep in touch with from wrestling. I don't talk to like all the people that you and I were interacting with on a daily basis from 2020 to like 2022. I don't talk to any of them anymore. You know, so it was like, yeah, it was. You know, you get what I'm trying to say. Like, I
know what you mean. I mean, you're right. Like, is it the same? No. Like, I mean, the trendy word is washed, or like, you know, irrelevant almost. It's like, yeah. Basically, I mean, like, I'm quite self-aware. You're fairly self-aware. You know, we see the engagement, we see the reaction. We get the vibe. Like, we can tell with this sort of stuff. Like, if you one thing with this at the moment, as you say, you know, we're getting like hundreds of comments, or like, oh my god, it's like it's like we have like a Jim Cornette like podcast thirst from people who just want, you know, are desperate to see what we have to say. But you're like, yeah, it's not the case, and most of that it's us, and like the fact that where we were at in 2 years ago, a year ago, last 6 months, not being in the, I mean, not wanting to do it as full on as you could, and that's fine.
Yeah,
like, is what it is. Like, that's
exactly.
You know, that's the late hate journey, really. But like,
and I'm happy with the way things turned out. Because, you know, touch on one thing that you mentioned too, just to expand on that, was like, oh, are we happy doing this? Like, like I would not have been, it wasn't sustainable what we were doing. I would not have been happy being the angry Miz guy. You know, if I was still angry Miz guy in 2024, like almost 4 years removed from the Elimination Chamber where he won the title, and that was like my peak of like engagement and my peak of where like everybody's like, oh my god, Miz won. Like, if I was still doing that in 2024 at this time, people would be like, bro, come on. Like, you know, and we were still getting on this podcast doing like some of the cheesy, corny stuff that we were doing, which we're going to talk about now, the nostalgia. But like, if we were still doing like, oh, Finn Balor doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame rants, like if we were still doing that stuff, people would probably listen. Like you said, you said it perfectly with the number, like numbers would be there. But would you and I be happy? Like
no.
What I want to tell someone on a first date, or like a third or fourth date, hey, this is what I do in my free time. You know, I yell about The Miz and Finn Balor. Like, no, I would be embarrassed to tell that to somebody on like in the early dating stages, versus like saying now, hey, look, I do this journalistic YouTube channel. I want to grow it one day. I do that in my free time. Like, it's just classier content.
It's how the times shift. Like, you know,
it's classier content I can be proud of, you know, content that I can show. Like, if I'm doing an interview with like Bleacher Report, to be like an editor at Bleacher Report, just an example, I could show someone, look at this video I made on the Vince McMahon scandal. This is what I can do behind the boards. This is the kind of videos that I can produce for you. I can show that, you know, versus like if you and I never took that break in 2022 and we're getting on this podcast now and we're still doing that cheesy, like childish content, how am I going to show that to like the vice president of Bleacher Report or whoever I'd be interviewing with? Yeah, I'm going to show them, hey, this is me, a 28-year-old man screaming about The Miz because he had a segment with R-Truth on Raw. You know, like what, you know, so I'm glad the way things worked out, you know?
Yeah.
But like we have to be honest, that was our peak. Doing that goofy stuff was our peak.
Yeah.
And where we would be right now if we kept doing that is like TWRP. We'd have 9,000 subs, whatever. You know, we'd have our 200 people that comment and like us, and follow us on Twitter.
That's it.
That's where we'd be.
That's it. That's basically, No, you nailed it. Like you have a really devoted group who listen to us play the hits each recording, and you're, oh, Kevin's gonna bash the Miz again. Oh, they're gonna call WWE bad. Say Tony Khan sucks.
We're gonna make fun of Brian Alvarez. Roast the Observer, pal.
And it's like, yeah, okay, but like there's only so many times you can say the same thing. I found this with wrestling, especially when I was doing content, like 2021, whatever. There's only so many times you can say the same stuff. Like for me in 2021, I was full on like sending it at YouTube. It was like, yeah, okay, Roman Reigns is the best thing of this era. WWE is being carried by that guy. Here's some like fun fantasy booking of like Bray Wyatt or some storylines. Here's like a hot take about Daniel Bryan needing to retire, which is aged the worst like any take in modern wrestling. And like, yeah, like, that was the thing. But there's only so much. Yeah, like yes, you're in 2022. Roman Reigns. I've made 100 videos on this guy.
I just had an idea. If you're gonna make if you're gonna make any JTE content, I highly suggest
reacting to
yes. I highly suggest you consider making a remake of your Dear Daniel Bryan, Please Retire. Like doing some sort of just revisit that. I highly suggest you consider that.
Yeah.
That's like your claim to fame at this point. That's what you're probably most remembered for.
I'll never forget that day. I had man flu that day. I woke up feeling like unwell. It was like 4 a.m. I hit publish on the video, which I'd spend most of the day before making. I was very happy with the video. It's actually, as a video, it's a good video. It's a lot of effort put in. It was a good video. But obviously, all people say is the title.
Of course. So I thought it was a great video, but it was very Alex Jones-ish, and you know, the United States is not big.
It was a hit piece.
Yeah, the United States is not big on that kind of content, you know.
No, and then I remember, I published it, fell asleep for about 2 hours, woke up because I had to go to work. I had like 900 views at the time in 2 hours, which was quite a lot at the time. And then the dislikes, it was just starting to like, you know, it just started to go outside of my YouTuber, like my subscriber bubble, who like everything. It had started to expand, and that whole day, I checked Twitter. My phone was a war zone. The most toxic, or like, you got these accounts who just try and like belittle and bully you, basically, like saying nasty. It was just, oh my god. But nonetheless, like there's that. But yeah, that's where I was at, and sort of thing. Like I'd much rather, like you get less views, less traction, but we do an elite heat every now and then, as we were doing every week or two, an elite take. We do a debate. It's more fun. I don't have to feel like, oh, what's Twitter gonna try and put me on blast for today? It's like,
exactly.
It's more fun, and then that's what. Yeah, the number might be lower. Would we be washed, or would we be less relevant? Yeah, but am I happy? Absolutely. It's the sort of people. Yeah, it's the same sort of argument. People are like, you want to be rich, you want to be famous, you want to be all this. But then, like, once you people like you achieve, it's like, actually, no, I don't. I just want to have money and just like chill and be like, do my own thing. It's a lot of that sort of thing with this. It's like, like, do you want like what comes with the numbers and the money and like the views and all the reactions? Sure, but when stuff's like negative and it's like everything is overblown, everything's over dramatic, and you have to play a certain bit to get that, it's like, no thanks.
And the reality is, if our ceiling is TWRP, we're not going to be doing numbers on podcast platforms. You know, like we're not going to be doing crazy ad revenue on YouTube, crazy ad revenue on podcasts, because at some point, one of our clips would go viral of us acting a fool, and we'd be like, just like, oh, those guys are idiots. We're going to cast them into this box in the community.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about too, like where I was when the Miz won the title at Elimination Chamber 2021. I think I've told you this off camera. I don't think I've ever said this on while we're recording. That was like a fork in the road moment for me as an adult and a wrestling fan.
Right, so you were how old when that happened?
I was 24.
Okay, so I mean, I'm 20, so you're 3 years older than I am now. I already feel like a grown adult man.
Yeah.
So you're like you're probably in your mid-20s, but you're gone.
Yeah, probably in my mid 20s. I was engaged. Um, I was trying to figure out my career. Um, a few months away from big things happening in my career. Um, so I'm playing. I'm not even playing the bit. I'm just having fun being the guy that hates the Miz, doing the drunk rants, the drunk reviews, doing Raw reviews, like tweeting all this crazy nonsense, tweeting whatever to get engagement, whatever to get people mad. My main thing, getting people mad, dividing people. Like that's what I was doing at that point. And I had made my Miz Heat extremely well known during the pandemic, and I had become well known for it. And people were just like, "Yeah, bona fide heat." That was what I was going as. And bona fide heat. What a time, pal. Bona fide heat is the guy that hates the Miz. So when the Miz wins the title at Elimination Chamber, I get into the character and I'm getting really worked up because I know I gotta perform. Pal, I gotta get on the camera. People are like, I got like at least 100 people that are waiting to click on my review, which is great. That's phenomenal, bro. Like, I'm happy that I had 100 people waiting to click on my review. I've got like Ishan, shout out to Ishan, and a bunch of other people I can't remember who, sending me DMs like, "Oh my god, Miz won, are you okay,
like,
bro?"
I remember you're in like a million group chats. I remember you told me like my phone's never been blown up more.
Yeah.
Like like when that moment happened and the Miz won, it felt like the whole of like wrestling was like, "Oh my god, what's Kevin gonna say?"
Yes.
I got to tune into this.
Literally.
That's
Yeah.
what it was. And like
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. I remember that day when I saw the Miz and Cash. I saw the picture and thought, "Oh my god, I've got to see what Kevin says.
Yeah.
I've got to watch his review. What's he gonna say?"
Yeah.
It felt blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was me talking over a picture of the Miz for like 9 minutes, and I was just ranting and screaming. I got so legitimately mad in real life. This has only happened twice. This happened the other time when we were doing our Eddie Guerrero debate, where you had him like 35th and I had him 15 or whatever. I worked myself into a shoot, brother, as Hulk Hogan would say. But that was like, I was trying to come off as mad, so I was like thinking about stuff that actually got me mad, and I got mad for real about other stuff when we were doing the Eddie rant. So it came off like I was really mad at you about your Eddie placement. So it was a little different, but the same thing, kind of the same thing. Yeah. So I got so worked up that I was legitimately angry when I was recording that review, and I had people tagging me in the clip on Twitter, like, "Oh my god, Kevin, oh my god, like, look at this, Kevin, oh my god, Miz won the title. What do you think about this?" I had like, no joke, like 300-400 I'm not even flexing, 300-400 notifications on Twitter in like 5 minutes. The whole time my ex is waiting on me to go to her mom's house with dinner. So I'm like, hold on, gotta do this review. Leave me alone, please. Let me do this review. My parents are probably like, okay, my grown son is in his bedroom in our house screaming about wrestling. Like, where did we go wrong? I'm like so legitimately angry after I get done recording that rant that I had to go outside and go for like a walk. It's like 10:30 at night Eastern time. I had to go for a walk for like 10 minutes. My ex is calling me, "Where are you at with my dinner? Where are you at?" I'm like, "Bro, I will be there soon. I need to calm down. My blood is boiling, like blood pressure's going crazy." And I'm like, all right, go wherever, go to McDonald's, whatever's open at that time of night, go have dinner with my ex. She's obviously not happy with me. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life right now? Like the next day, I had a real long look I took a real long look in the mirror, had a real conversation with myself. And I was like, what am I doing with my life right now? I got legitimately mad about the Miz winning a WWE title. I had real life friends. This is how serious it got. I had real life friends messaging me like, "Bro, the Miz won the WWE title in 2021. What the fuck? Like, what is going on? Like, this is the Miz." Like, it was bad, bro. It's not obviously not as bad as I'm being dramatic a little bit, but I had to look in the mirror and I was like, what is life right now? And that changed everything for me, bro. that moment, you know, that's when I was like, I got to start doing something more serious here. You know, um, but yeah. To pivot, I wanted to talk about your Daniel Bryan video. I remember where I was when that happened too. I think we were talking back and forth about this. We were bouncing ideas off. And I think I was the one that told you, bro, make an Alex Jones hit piece video, bro. Or you had described it and you were like, you kind of said like what you wanted to do. And I was like, oh, perfect. Alex Jones video. That's what you need to do. That fits everything you're trying to do. Because you were like, oh, I want to show clips of like Daniel Bryan, of like wrestlers in AEW getting dropped to their neck, you know? And I think you and I both, more so you, underestimated the power of the AEW fan base at that time. Because that was the thing. Like, was that before or after? That was before the news came out officially, right? That he had signed with AEW. It was like heavily implied that he was going to AEW.
Yeah, that was during the phase. It was like you sort of knew it was happening, but like it hadn't been announced, but it was going to happen, sort of thing.
Yeah. And I say like you more so underestimated the AEW fan base just because you're the one posting the content. You know, like it's
on my channel. I'm the one spending 7 hours a day making it. I know.
Yeah, so it's easy for me to say, oh, whatever, bro. AEW fans might not like you, like, you know. So you post this video, and I'm like, oh, I have to watch that. I'm probably working or something. I have to watch that when I get home. And by the time I watched it, it probably had what did it end up doing? Like 10,000 views in total.
I'll get back to you on that, but it did numbers.
So it probably had like 6,000 views when I watched it, and I was just reading all these hateful comments that you were getting.
Yeah,
and I think you had deleted the tweet where you had the original tweet.
Yeah,
and I was like, bro, this is bad. You know?
Yeah,
like that was kind of the moment where I knew AEW wasn't gonna last. Like their success wasn't sustainable.
Yeah,
because like people didn't even watch the video. Like you had legitimate points. Yeah. It's just if that video was made by like a retired wrestler, like if Stevie Richards, he's got a YouTube channel now. If he made that video, that's like a 2 million views video right now. You know, if Stevie Richards is like, hey, I was a wrestler. This company is careless. And I wrestled in TNA. And AEW is more careless than TNA. You know, that kind of thing. Then it's like...
Yeah, he's like, yeah, hey... Because I mean, the thing I did in that video, I was like, look, here's the one of Hangman where his neck hits things, his neck snaps to the side. I'm like, it's a fact that Bryan's had tremors in his arms and had 2 neck operations. If that happens to him, that's probably the end of his career. That's what I did in the video. Obviously, like, I'm looking at the numbers now. Yeah, that video, the numbers wise, had 331 likes, 261 dislikes, which is wild. I privated the video, so I don't know how many comments actually. I think it got to like 600 comments. Like it was nuts. It was nuts.
What were the views?
Like, 7,000.
Okay. Yeah, so I probably was like at the tail end. I was like at 5,000-6,000 when I watched it. Okay.
Yeah. But pal, the thing with that, which I mean, obviously you say, yeah, you had that was like, for instance, your Miz one was your sort of moment where you're like, what do I want to be with this? Like that Bryan video for me a bit was like, yeah, because at that stage I already had like maybe 7,000 subs. Like I already had like some notoriety at that stage. I was like, what I want YouTube to be? Do I really want to keep making? Because at that stage, like to get the views, to get like the real notoriety and traction, maybe not to that extreme, that video like that, but similar sort of stuff that gets reaction, gets opinion, gets people to click. I need to make more of that sort of stuff to get to 100,000 subs. It was my ultimate goal when I was like in the process of grinding really hard with YouTube. But then I was just like, the channel's big enough. What's the difference for me, as I said, between 8,000 subs and 23,000? Like I don't need more backlashes like that one. Like, granted, will I make more videos about like Daniel Bryan retire, whatever? No, that was like a one-off like example, which went nuts. Like that was crazy, and like yeah, that did make me realize. I was like, even if I do, yeah, let's say I push on, get to 100,000 subs, is this the community I want to be a part of and have a big voice in this community? You know, and like, and it leads into like the podcast thing. Like, I just want to just talk about wrestling with, you know, someone I get on well with. I just want to watch a bit of wrestling, talk about it, and have some fun with that. Because like trying to make it big and do the big hit video, like the video that gets people talking. Yeah, I feel like I answered my question. Do I want that? And the ultimate answer was not really. I want that sort of. You want sort of like the numbers, but nothing to do with the what comes with it. But then, yeah, like in that case, it was crazy. It was like I deleted Twitter for about a day or two. I think at the time, because like genuinely, you open your notifications and every second thing is something horrible about you, and it's like this is insane. And even when I'd do some tweets to like, you know, you sort of try and drown it out a bit and you post some, you know, engagement bait tweets. Oh, what do you think of Finn Balor? Blah, whatever, just to get some likes or whatever. Even then, every second thing was still, oh, this effing guy knows nothing. Oh, F this guy. This person, like the dumbest person I've ever seen. Worst take I've ever seen. Oh, you know, don't run and snap your neck. All this sort of stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. Great, thank you. Don't, you know, Brian would kill you if he wasn't so nice. I'm like, oh, thank you for that. Cool. You know, really, really welcoming. Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, that's the AEW fan base, and that's like pretty much all they have left is those people now watching the show. I mean, there's like they don't want general people. They don't want anybody else to watch their show, you know?
Yeah.
At this stage, we're 3 years removed now from that moment, you know, and the Bryan Danielson thing. Now we're in a stage where like AEW had record low attendance for Dynamite. Did you see like the picture that was circulating on social media of Jericho talking into the hard cam? And there's literally nobody in the audience. There's like he's talking to like 15 people.
I did say that. Yeah,
Disgusting.
Just bad. I think like it stems back to like, I mean, the big conversation we're having here is more so like what we want the late hate to be. Like, obviously, yeah, in like an ideal world, yeah, pops off where, you know, we're the podcast. I think as a dynamic work quite well together. But ultimately, yeah, it's logistics, diehard passion for wrestling above all else. When you're like, we're in our 20s, you're pushing towards your 30s. Like it's not, you can't just be, you know, as you've moved on, as you're saying, you can't just be playing the hits, pal, yelling about the Miz. Like no, like that's not sustainable. So yeah, in that regard, to tie back to what, you know, the initial sort of question and point, yeah, we shifted away. I changed from like the elitist. I thought that name was a bit like, yeah. As it got on, I was like, do I love that? Not really. I mean, JTE is more clean. It's more normal name.
Yeah.
Like I'm JTE. But like the elitist pal, like, yeah, because the context of the elitist is, yeah, thinks they're right about everything, like, you know, thinks they're better than other people is what that means. And with a lot of wrestling opinions, I did think that, and I do think that. I'm like, yeah, like my opinion's right. Like I think that, great. But like as a YouTube name, like it's
not great. Yeah,
it's not great. No, it's not sustainable. So
yeah, and like if you and I were both like super well off, like if I was making like 300 grand a year and I didn't have, like, I owned a business where I didn't have to like do anything to it, and I could like dedicate like, you know, 5 hours a week to do this podcast, or like pay somebody to produce it for us. Like, I would love to keep doing this, you know? But like, that's the reality of where podcasting is. Like, you need resources to have any kind of voice now, you know?
Yeah.
The way, especially like the way wrestling media is in particular, wrestling media is PR now, essentially. There's no real journalism anymore in wrestling media. You've got the podcasts that are in AEW's pocket, the Meltzers and Alvarez. The more like, they're more commercial. They're more like you see them on social media. Then you've got the podcasts that are more in the mainstream media, that are on Spotify and YouTube, that are more like, that are in WWE's pocket. You know, like I can't even think of some names, like the Masked Man Show and like the Ringer. Like they have a partnership. You know, Bill Simmons' company has a partnership with WWE. Like, they're in WWE's pocket. They're not as shameless about it. But it is like to the point where like one of the co-hosts, like, he's a person of color, Kaz, he'll be asked like, "Hey, what do you think about MVP saying all this about Triple H's booking style of people of color like yourself?" And he has no comment because those WWE checks are paying pretty good, you know. So that's where we are in media too. Like people with personalities like you and I, we wouldn't last, you know. Like we call things like we see it, and if we don't like something, we're gonna say that we don't like it, you know. Like if somebody if you ask me, hey, if you and I were doing like a WWE sponsored podcast, let's say like Damian Priest, they had him doing like a stereotypical like Hispanic gimmick, and you were like, hey Kevin, what do you think about that as a Puerto Rican man? What do you think about you're watching Damian Priest do this? And I'm like, hey, no comment, bro. Like I don't want to be that guy either, you know.
I know.
And that's kind of what wrestling media is. It's literally just like a promotion for the show. Whatever show, whoever's paying, whoever's like filling their pockets, you know.
Well, everything's brand, right? I mean, you mentioned self promotion, PR with it, and like once you get too big, or like you really, Bob, all of a sudden becomes like, okay, well, if you're going to make money out of this, make anything serious out of it, well, you have to get on well with, I mean, the companies themselves, basically, WWE, AEW, or like whoever else is involved with running wrestling media. And you need to fall within a certain box of some kind and answer things along a certain ball, like a certain way to go with it. So and that's there's so much intertwined in where we're at now and like the journey and everything. Because we made, I don't even know how many podcasts, a lot of podcasts, a lot of really good ones. A lot of really funny content. I mean, I mentioned that Elimination Chamber 2023 one just because it's fresh in my mind, but I'm watching that back, and like the way we're arguing is just hilarious. It's so entertaining, and it's such good stuff. But it's just like, are we gonna get on here and yell at each other every day or every other day about Elimination Chamber 2023 or about the ending of a match when you're 28, I'm 21? Like it's.
Yeah, I mean, if we're getting stuffed by advertising revenue, if our pockets are getting stuffed with advertising revenue, I'll scream about whatever, pal. You know, I don't care.
But even then, like, personally speaking, even if ad revenue is something, I wouldn't. If it didn't feel authentic, I'd just be like, okay, let's give my opinion. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so I guess to tie it all back, that's sort of where we're at the moment. Or Kevin's situation as is. And I put the community post out about a week ago and a week and a half ago, being like, hey, my schedule's cleared up. But like, once again, if Kevin's sleeping 3.5 hours a night and has a million things going on and can't even, can barely keep his eyes open after about 7 p.m. at night because of his day, then the realities of recording this show and making any half good, it just isn't going to happen. So,
yeah.
And that's
very good.
I was just saying that's where it's at now. So, I guess, going forward, who knows? We'll see. Once again, I'll try and get JT posting some when I feel like it, sort of thing. I don't feel like I need to prove I'm a great YouTuber. Like, no. People know I make good videos. Like it's sort of like I've built a channel. I've established that I make good videos. If I really want to put the effort, I can make a video that gets 100,000 views, or the channel could get past 10,000 subs. Dude, it's a number on a screen. Who cares? Right. Like, am I happy doing it? Like, that's all it's about. So,
right, and that's where you and I differ. You know, like your priority is like, hey, I just want to get on here and talk wrestling with my friend. You know, and I want to do this as a career. I want to be in the media world. You know, I want to be like producing Dark Side of the Ring style documentaries. You know, I want to have a hand in producing like a Vince McMahon hit piece on Netflix. Like, that's where I see myself in 10 years' time. You know. I want to be doing this for real. And I need to take the steps necessary. I had to look in the mirror again and take the steps necessary to accomplish that. You know, start looking at YouTube and media, content creation and media production as a career, and treating it like a career, treating it like a job. You know, and learning like the ins and outs of the algorithms, and learning like, networking and building connections and being in the right place at the right time to get the right opportunities. You know, like, I mean, I envision myself one day, like I said, doing documentaries. I would love to have like my own thing. I don't want to work for like a company or I'd love to have my own thing where I'm like producing my own stuff, where I'm doing like an interview on whatever platform and I'm interviewing like Ashley Massaro's cousin or whoever is close to her. I'm like, tell us what was going on with her, like stuff like that,
Mm.
where, you like you said, you see this as just like fun, you know?
Mm.
So that was another thing too. Like you and I just have different priorities too,
Yeah.
and we're in different stages in life. And yeah, I mean my Wrestling Uncovered channel, I want to take it to huge heights.
Mm.
There's I mean, I've seen potential. I had my Ring Boy scandal video blow up, get almost 70,000 views. I got noticed by Lee Cole, Tom Cole's brother, who was at the center. Tom Cole was at the center of the Ring Boy scandal. I got noticed by him, had phone conversations with him. Sadly, he signed a contract with like Hulu for a documentary to do a documentary. I think it was Hulu. I don't know if I can even say that. Whatever, who cares? And he couldn't give me anything on the podcast interview that I had with him because he was gag ordered. But like that, that's where I want to be. Doing that kind of stuff. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, so my channel, I have that potential. I just got to put it all together now, and that's where I'm at in the process of doing that. It's just putting it all together and making the right thumbnails, doing the right editing, doing everything the right way, and really establishing my voice. Establishing what I bring to the table on a serious note, like not like I don't want to be known for like yelling about the Miz. Like I want to be known as like, oh, that's the guy that brings a good unbiased journalism, really uncovers like really talks about things that nobody else is talking about, that people are uncomfortable talking about. You know? Yeah, I can't wait for that Vince McMahon documentary. I'm gonna look at that. I want to cover that for my channel. Talk about every episode, break that down. That's gonna be must see, pal. I can't wait. Yeah, so I want to do that in 10 years. Like, I want to have my name as a credit on a major documentary, bro, So it's, yeah, like I said, you and I are we're at different stages,
Yeah. There you go.
There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing
I
wrong with
know.
that either. Yeah.
I know. Exactly right. Yeah. And yeah, but you look back now, it's just, pal, what an experience, what a journey, pal.
So fun. Yeah. Should we
I know.
reminisce now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, like,
Okay.
so
Hold
many,
on. Let me talk about the infancy of this podcast.
yeah.
So the height of the pandemic, 2020. I'm out of work. I'm doing a podcast with a guy named Anil. You remember Anil?
I do. Yeah.
My British pal. Um, and I'm like doing this podcast with him one day. And I'm like, bro, this guy is boring. No disrespect to Anil if he's watching. Love you, Anil. Hope everything's good. But I was like, man, this guy's a little dry, a little boring, And I was just like, and I think you and I started talking about it, and then we were like, why don't we just do this? Like, why don't we just do a podcast? Like, we could do it better, Like,
Hmm.
and do you remember that? Do you remember those times with Anil?
I honestly forgot about that part of it. Yeah, I do. And that was like that was like literally around this time 4 years ago, around September, I
Yep.
think. You were like, "Yeah, hey, I'm doing this thing." I'm like, "Oh, Bonafide Heats doing this show with whatever Neil's show name is." Okay, and like I listened to like a minute or two of each. And I can't listen to this. Like I was bored watching them. And I think I was telling you that I was like, yeah, I like what you're going for, but this ain't it.
Yeah.
Respectfully to both of you, I can't listen to this. But
Yep.
that was when I was like engaging everyone. I was talking to like everybody in the community, just generally. But
Yep.
yeah, and then we were chit chatting for a bit. And we're like, how do we make this work? I'm like, let's call it a Late Heat. That's an easy name. And then our boy Superkick Studios helped us out with the banner with Roman Reigns and Eddie Guerrero, pal.
Oh, beautiful.
And our little our Elite Heat theme, the logo, that's been our logo the whole time. And it was just unbelievable. So shout out to Superkick. And then we kicked it off like December 2020, I think, from memory.
Yeah, it was December 2020. I don't remember what our first episode was, but
it was a CM Punk. It was something CM Punk, I think, wasn't it?
I'm gonna pull this up while we're here. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna pull this up.
The initial OG episodes of this were back on like Bonafide Heats. They're probably in your private videos, I think. The initial like.
Oh yeah, they're on my channel. Yeah.
They would have been because the whole of Elite Heat season 1 was on the Bonafide Heat channel, and then season 2 we made the Elite Heat channel for, and then we went away obviously for like most of 2022. In 2023 we posted all year, and we like had our big year.
All right, so looking now. Hold on, I gotta. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so like, I mean, that was the start of it, and really, I mean, my whole thing was like, I'll do a podcast, sure. Because to me, it's like, I'll give that a go. Because I know, because Kevin's well, as he's saying, like, he has aspirations to be like, involved in documentaries, involved in journalism, or what have you. And man, I'm like, I'll do it. Sure, that sounds fun. Let's make something good. Let's make some good content for the people. That's sort of it's always been my thing.
Exactly. Let's see. Okay, so I'm looking here. So it looks like it was the rise and fall of CM Punk.
I knew that was yeah.
It did pretty well. 651 views, 70 likes, 9 dislikes.
Pretty good.
So this was I mean, solid. So wow, that's pretty crazy. That was December 28, 2020. Man, time flies, bro. Man, I'm living a whole different life now. I was back then.
Where, like, walk me through, and the listeners through, where you're at with your, like, you've mentioned like earlier in the show, like, where you're at now in September 2024, but December 2020, when we're beginning the podcast, where are you? Like, what's going on? Like, what's your life look like in December 2020?
My life was a mess. So I was furloughed for much of the pandemic. So I was like getting paid from my job, and I was like getting government money. Like, it was pretty sweet. Put a lot of money, saved a lot of money. Saved a lot. I saved a lot of money at that time. Pretty sweet. I was literally just playing video games the whole time, just doing YouTube stuff and yelling about the Miz. And then whatever. Okay, so go back to work in like late September. I want to say go back to work at Best Buy, and November, like the day after Thanksgiving or something, I injured my knee really badly. You probably remember this. I don't know how much we talked about this.
I do remember this. Yeah, you injured your meniscus, and was it your left or your right leg?
My left. Yeah, I injured my left meniscus really badly walking my dog. So that was a month before this happened, and I was probably still on crutches when you and I recorded this podcast. I probably still couldn't walk. So like it was messed up what happened. My knee had always been bad for a lot of years because I had bad posture. I leaned a lot on my right knee. My left knee was always kind of messed up, like from playing baseball a lot and like, football and stuff. And I never got it looked at as a young adult. And then I finally was like, I'm going to go get it looked at. So I go and get it looked at in the beginning of November in 2020. I go get a cortisone shot. I got a knee brace on. I'm going to start physical therapy. So this is literally a month before maybe 2 weeks before I tear my meniscus. I'm going to start physical therapy, do some light physical therapy, get my posture worked on, get my knee back up and running. I take the cortisone shot. My doctor tells me, hey, go easy on the knee. Don't do nothing crazy, My dog wants to go for a walk. I got the knee brace on. I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't be walking her, but she really wants to go for a walk. I'm going to take her quick walk, 5-minute walk. I'm walking, limping with this cortisone shot on my knee. And my dog sees another dog in the neighborhood and goes crazy.
Oh, no.
And literally ties up my legs with the leash and runs straight into the back of my knee with her head first. And my knee's already weak from the cortisone shot and the therapy. So boom, runs to the back of my knee. I hear a crack, meniscus torn right then and there. And since I used my health insurance to get the MRI and the cortisone shot, now I have a torn meniscus and I can't get an MRI because my health insurance is like, no, you just got one a week and a half ago. We're not like, no, you're not getting another MRI. So my doctor's like, hey, you got to wait till your health insurance clears your MRI. So I don't even think I had my MRI at this point when we recorded this episode. So I'm literally sitting up for a month. I'm sitting in bed. I'm laying in bed, not even sitting. I'm laying in bed watching The Sopranos. And I can't walk because my knee is so, I literally can't walk without a cane or crutches. I'm getting out of bed, going to the bathroom. That's pretty much it. I'm watching The Sopranos and playing video games. But man, if I didn't have the wrestling community, God only knows where I would be, bro. Like, you know, I was not in a happy relationship, to say the least. Looking back at it now, the woman I'm with now is a lot better. And not to talk bad about anyone. You know, I hope she's doing well wherever she's at. But the woman I'm with now is like a million times better compared to what I was with. You know, if I was with the woman I'm with now, I would have got through. I would have just been better off. You know, so I'm in a not so great relationship, and my knee's injured. Just got engaged because he was like, oh, that'll fix the problems. Let's get engaged. That'll fix all of our relationship problems. You know, when you're young and stupid, you know, that'll fix everything, pal. Let me just put a ring on it. That'll magically solve all the problems. So I just got engaged like 5-6 days prior, like right before Christmas. It was a mess. Yeah. And then we record this podcast, and yeah, the wrestling community kept me saying I started physical therapy like a week later, 2 weeks later. Maybe, and I did physical therapy for 6 months. Yeah, that's me, pal.
So, pal, you're saying the wrestling community saved your life?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, pal.
Yeah, no, because I remember. Yeah, I finished school like November 2020. I finished the 12th grade, pal. And my thing was like, well, what the hell do I do now? Like, it's a bit like, you know, now what? Because I mean, I hear that where you were like bedridden for a month with your like knee injury. I've never been in a situation like that or anything that's left me bedridden for longer than like half a day. I go mentally insane. Like I can't like sit still for 5 hours and just do nothing. I have to record something, physical activity, be working on a project, be doing anything. My head would explode if I was in that situation. Wow. But yeah, so started this. Gone on YouTube. I don't know. For me personally, my life's improved every year, like since 2020. Like which is not exactly a very common thing to hear. Most people just talk about how the 4 years we discussed this podcast, for instance, the 4 years for them from 2020 to now is just like 1 year, and now just things go by so quickly. Now it's like it's for instance close to 2030 as it is to 2019. Basically, people are talking about that now, and it's like, I mean, yeah, but I feel like I've lived every day pretty well. Like there's not many days like go by nowadays or just generally I'm like, what did I do today? What was that day? I hardly have any or many of those. At least I felt something either achieved or you do a gym session or you got like a community X or other or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy. 4 years basically now. You know, it's amazing how like time evolves because yeah, like where we were and where this show was and where the wrestling community was 4 years ago versus now. I mean, it's so different. Like it was a different community a lot of ways back then in 2020. A lot of different people, I mean, like us were doing it during the pandemic and really making a start. And there was more different opinion and there's more voices in the community at the time in 2020 than there are now. I feel like, at least on like the grassroots scene, not just like the big dogs, but yeah, what a journey, jeez.
I know it's crazy just thinking, okay, that was 4 years ago. Literally, life is so different now too. Where like just life in general, just general society. I'm not actively living in fear, of where the state of my country, but it's in the back of my mind fairly often. I'm genuinely afraid of where the United States is going. I think we are witnessing the downfall of an empire. You know, history repeats itself. History's secular, and it follows patterns. You know, you had the Roman Empire took over for a long time. Then you had the Mayans, and you had I'm not in chronological order, but
Yeah.
the Greek Empire, the pyramids, like those people that did the pyramids. Now we're witnessing the American Empire. The rise of industrialization, capitalism. America is the heart of the world right now. America's influenced everything. Um, and I think we're seeing the downfall of that. We are in a stage where the division is getting so out of hand. Like, I've seen videos of Taylor Swift fans burning her album covers, burning her merchandise, buying tickets and burning them for her shows because of who she casts a vote for politically. And we could might as well get super. I'm going to get super radical here with what I'm going to say, because why not? Go out with a bang, pal. I'm going to get a little radical. People like Taylor Swift, powerful billionaire, the biggest artist, musician in the world, top 3 with The Weeknd and Drake and whoever else you want to, Bad Bunny. Taylor Swift is right at the top of that list. A Mount Rushmore musician of the 2010s. She can afford to cast her vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
She can afford that. Yeah. She takes her private jet. She uses her private jet for 7 minutes to go to another area, to one zip code over from where she lives. She can afford to cast her vote for Kamala. I cannot. For example, average people. And this is it's worrisome that people do not see this. For me, it's common sense. I look at this and I say, the Democratic Party is obsessed with power. They built up Joe Biden. They used him. And then when he was not compliant, they cast him aside and put Kamala Harris at the top. And I bring this up to people, and I say, hey, do you think, just general people, people that I'm casual with, conversation with, do you think it's a little weird that Joe Biden just got thrown off of his throne and we don't know who's running the country? And they're just like, Kamala is the face of our party now. Joe Biden said, I'm not backing down. I'm not pulling out of this race. And then he gets removed from power. Nobody else thinks this is weird. I look around, I'm like, you guys don't think it's weird that Taylor Swift, Stephen Curry, all these powerful, rich, influential people are endorsing Democrats? Nobody else thinks this is weird? The people that are already in power, have power and money, are endorsing the people that are supposed to be for the poor and the less well off.
Mm.
And they're supposed to be for the working class person. But then the people that are working class people are the ones that are Republicans, and nobody sees this. People don't see it, and to me, it's right in front of my face, bold, black and white, and that's what's worrisome about me. That's what worries me about this, is that the media is brainwashing people. That's what it is. The mainstream media, and you know this from an outsider's perspective. You know this. I'm in it, and ABC, NBC, all these media outlets are brainwashing people. And we are in real danger of living in a world I'm in real danger of living in a country where the Democratic Party is the only party that exists. And they control all of the media. They control all the talking heads. And that's scary. A little scary to me.
If the media pumped out on every station stories, articles that 2 plus 2 equals 5. And they did that for year after year after year, story after story, and then censored and shut down everyone who said 2 plus 2 is 4. Eventually, everyone would just start thinking, okay, well, 2 plus 2 is 5. That's just what's happened, really. And so, coming into what happens in the next couple of months when people vote, I just hope an overwhelming majority still see that. But it's going to be fascinating to see when the country votes, how many people just believe Trump bad, Democrat good, Kamala wants me to succeed, vote for her. It's going to be really interesting to see. I considering Trump was shot at and they tried to kill him, and then he's still getting the same media treatment as 4 years ago, 8 years ago. We're like, oh, Trump bad. Look at the picture of him yelling. Ha, he's an angry dictator. Ha, look, Kamala's for you. As like this, how you can barely afford. Well, I mean, not to get like you can barely. Most normal people can't afford to live. Just about like you're struggling to pay bills, as most people are. But Trump bad, pal.
I do all right at work. Like if I was making the money I'm making now, if I was making this money in another country like Colombia, where I just came back from, I would be like living like a king, bro. I'd have like a 4-bedroom house with a pool. Like I do all right.
Country, like where you live. Can, like
I do ridiculous. I do pretty good. And compared to like my friend group and my family, like some of my family members, I do pretty good financially, and I can barely live. Like it's just like it's hard, it's hard to like it's just hard. It's hard to pay bills. But continue what you're saying.
I was just gonna say, so like so once again, if the media wants to tell people 2 plus 2 is 5 and put that on repeat until people just start just saying that, and no one even says 2 plus 2 is 4 anymore, like facts aren't facts anymore.
No.
If the media says 2 plus 2 is 5, it's 5. That's the only, without using examples and real life political, this happens. That's what's happening. That's what's been happening for a few years now. That's just what goes on. So it's
been a decade now.
Yeah. How Trump's racist and hates black people, even though for 5 decades, all his best friends are black. Like the black community loved Trump for 55 years. Now all of a sudden he hates black people because he's running as a Republican. Like Trump was a Democrat. What do you mean? Like it doesn't make any sense. So, like, I don't know. Pal, the future of America's empire is on the line at this next election. It is that toxic. I don't even know. Like watching this, because some of them other countries go, watching America's things it's like a reality show. It's like if you find this funny, great. I find it really concerning because this is the world. Like I'll fingers crossed be alive for like 60 more years. Like and my kids will be alive for hopefully 90, whatever. Like this is what we're going to have to live with. Right? Like when you go to the grocery store and you used to be paying $3 for a little thing of cheese 5 years ago, now you're paying $8.50. Where's that going to go if you have the same people running America as they were before? Is that going to get to $15 and you can't afford to eat? Where's that going to get? Where's that going to get to? Is it going to be? Is there a war going to start at America? Is like some country going to go, we don't respect you, let's just invade. Let's invade America. What are they going to do? Like, not to mention the debate. This isn't a debate review, pal. In the debate, when Kamala's like, look, I went and liaised with Zelensky and Putin or whatever, and then we make things right. Trump, you're a friend of these dictators, and Trump goes, yeah, you went to talk to them. 3 days later, the biggest conflict in the last 4 years started. 3 days after you talked to them. You have no power. Like, no one respects you.
Yeah, and nobody sees that. Nobody sees that as a problem. It's worrisome that the average, like you'd be surprised. Like I live in an area that's not blue. South Florida in general is blue. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, super blue. I live in a city that's like in the middle, mostly red. And it's just mind-blowing to me how many people can't see through the nonsense. Like what Trump is saying is not crazy. Like like the cold hard truth, and it's not sexist, it's not offensive. Other countries that have different views than the views of America are not going to respect a woman president.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saudi Arabia, for example. They're not going to respect a female president. Like, they're just not. It's not offensive. It's just true.
It's just what happens.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. When Putin, who's been running Russia for 40 years and has been like with every big macho or just every aggressive male like old man who's ran other countries, and then you got Kamala Harris who's like yeah, and he's just like, this okay. Yeah, sounds good. What are we doing? What are we doing next? What can we get away with now?
Yeah.
It's crazy, and that's just the reality. Like maybe in the United States, in like a bunch of these states, like the things like, if Kamala Harris sits down across from Putin, she'll be more respected than Trump. Trump's a cornball. He's no, like it just I don't know.
But you know what?
Yeah.
One thing though, just we'll move on from politics. Last thing I'll say is that a lot of the stereotypes are true, like. In general, just from my observation, from what I've seen in my scope, what the media tells you is a Republican. It's usually a Republican. Like the people that are like crazy, like crazy, like Trump supporters, and even before Trump, they were crazy Republicans. They usually fit a certain mold. They are, they look the same. They're blonde hair, blue eyed women, white dudes that drive pickup trucks, live in RVs, like, that kind of thing. And I mean, it is like, I'll peel the curtain back for a second. Me, looking the way I look. And I don't understand I'll never understand what darker people than me go through from like a discrimination standpoint. But I know if I'm walking down the street and I'm walking by a house with a Trump flag, I get uncomfortable. Instantly. Because it is true. Like those people are usually like, I don't want to say racist, but some of them are, Some of them don't like diversity. Some of them when I was in Tampa. Tampa's super red. That area, like Western, like Florida, super conservative. I was walking down the street with my girlfriend in an area I've never been before, a neighborhood I've never been in before. I see a guy with a Trump flag, and the guy is walking outside with like a big German Shepherd. And I look like somebody that just swam here, that just jumped over the border. I look like I look like a Hispanic person. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. Walking by this guy's house, with a Trump flag. I don't know what, and I can only imagine somebody darker than me, what they would be thinking. This guy has a German Shepherd outside, has his Trump flag, looks the way he looks. I look the way I look. Chances are this guy doesn't like me, doesn't want me in his country, But then I walk by and the guy's like, hey, good morning to us. And, my girlfriend's petting his dog and all this, and it all went well, But it's that you do get that. I did get that stigma, from seeing the Trump flag. And that's that unfortunate stigma being true is what gives the Republican Party a bad name, Where, like, if you're a person of color and you're like, oh, I support Trump, instantly you're getting scrutinized by everybody in your whole family, your friends, your community. They're like, bro, you turned your back on us. And it's kind of sad. It kind of ruins it for the people like me that are just like, hey, I like this guy's policies. I just like his policies. I want to have money in my bank account. I want to be able to afford groceries. Like, and it goes and the same goes for the other side where it's like, oh, I want to teach my grandkid, I want to teach kindergartners about sexuality and embracing your true identity. Are you a woman? Are you a man? Like, no, I don't want that either. I don't want either side on the extreme spectrum. I don't want to be in California where there's gender neutral bathrooms. I don't want like my 5-year-old son or my 5-year-old daughter in the bathroom with boys, you know?
No.
You know, it's like can we be in the middle? Do we have to be so nuts, you know?
Yeah, the system's broken. There needs to be like, there's basically the two-party system. Bobby Kennedy got as far as you can as an independent, neutral, and he ended up just siding with Trump on the basis of health and lack of corruption involved with Trump versus Democratic. So yeah, Kennedy got to what, August of the election year, so 3 months before, and he was like, "This is just, I might get 6% of the vote," but really, like, is that going to do it? No. So I might as well just join. And then that's as far as Alex. He's got the Kennedy last name, independent, legitimately very good policies. Most of his stuff is backed by studies. It's true, but he's just some anti-vax idiot. Forget about him. Let's talk about Trump and Kamala. So it's like, well, sure, his studies tell more than what you know. Anyway, so yeah, so that's really that. So like, my view, there needs to be like 4 or 5 parties, like one that's like, yeah, far right, one's far left, one's like leaning right, one's leaning left, one's like very neutral, like independent. And then it should be something like that. And then like most people can figure out, and you can have like 3 or 4 candidates. If it was ran better, it'd probably like that. Of course, the two-party things, it's made for disaster. Like the two-party system's broken. So we saw that with the debate. I thought both debate performances with Trump, I thought both were not good. I don't think either were overly great. Like Kamala, what was the thing? She's like a condescending aunt, and Trump's like a patriotic grandpa. That was the debate. Like Kamala's like, we got plans. And then Trump's like, the country's being invaded by immigrants.
They're eating dogs.
Joe Biden has dementia. She's killing the country. There's gonna be like World War III if she's in. Everything's like, I don't know who you like. What do you do?
He had a moment to do the death blow, but that's another. I'm glad you brought up the Kennedy thing. I know I said it would be done with politics. It's the last thing on politics. Then we're gonna talk other stuff, please. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. His family, the Kennedy family, is Democrat royalty. John F. Kennedy is the most beloved, one of the most beloved Democrats of all time. Their family's royalty. John F. Kennedy is one of the most progressive, forward-thinking presidents ever. He laid the groundwork for what the Democratic Party is now. The Republican Party killed him. I don't even know if I can say. I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. The Republican Party killed him and Robert F. Kennedy Sr. And RFK Jr. joins the Republican Party. And I asked people, do you not see anything wrong with that? Does that not raise eyebrows to you? Like, forget the fact that, the left, they're for inclusion and forget about all that bullshit for just a second. And look at what I'm saying. This guy is Democrat royalty. The Republicans killed his uncle and father. And he's joining the party. Do you not see anything wrong with that? And people are like, I don't know. RFK's crazy. He has crazy policies, crazy beliefs. He belongs in the Republican Party. I'm like, no, bro, the Democratic Party is so corrupt that they don't even want Democrat royalty in there anymore. His uncle laid the groundwork for what they are. And he's Republican now. Like, it blows my mind that people don't use common sense. Like, that's basic math to me. Okay, this guy had his father and uncle killed by the Republican Party. He's now a Republican. Fast forward 40, 50 years later. Something is wrong with the Democrat Party. That's the way I see it, you know? But other people see, oh no, Republicans racist. Democrats, abortion, they want women to have control of their bodies. Abortion are okay, you know? It blows my mind, bro. that people can't think outside of those things, that the president can't even control abortions, bro.
I know.
I was explaining this to my niece. I'm like, the state controls abortions. The
Yeah.
states. Florida makes their own abortion laws. Georgia makes their own abortion laws. Kamala Harris cannot do anything about guaranteeing that you have an abortion. She can write up a law and a bill, and California can pass it, and Florida can say no. That's all she can do. You know, it blows my mind, bro. All right, enough of politics. What do you want to talk about now?
You saw Shannon Sharp getting freaky on IG.
Oh, that's the most staged thing I've ever seen in my life, bro. That was so staged. He got tired of the gay allegations. He got tired of the gay allegations. I mean, we're letting it fly today, aren't we, pal? He got tired of the gay allegations and was just like, I'm going to go on Instagram Live having sex with a woman and shut everybody up.
Yeah.
I think it's corny. I don't think it's funny. Like, I've seen the clips of Chad Ochocinco. Like, I'm surprised to see Ochocinco doing the kind of work he's doing for Shannon Sharp. Like, you would think Chad Ochocinco is like somebody like me, a no-name like co-host, you know? That's like sucking up to Shannon Sharp because he's Shannon Sharp and I'm a no-name and I'm lucky to be here, you know? Like, you're Chad Ochocinco, bro. Like, why are you kissing up to Shannon Sharp like this? Like, what is going on? You know, like, literally, I feel like I'm watching me talking to Shannon Sharp when I'm watching. I don't feel like I'm watching Chad Ochocinco, this iconic NFL player in his own right. He's an icon in his own right. He's a Florida icon, Miami born and raised, Florida icon, pal. At that, kissing up to Shannon Sharp, it's so ludicrous to me. What do you think?
I was watching the thing. Was it Bette David's show? Where like they were saying, look, to go from your phone sitting there to IG Live running, pick up the phone. You have to unlock. For some, it's facial verification. Some have a passcode. Unlock. Then you got to go swipe across your Instagram screen. You got to perfectly click on Instagram. Instagram will take a second, open up. Then you got to swipe across. Got to press plus. Go live. Are you sure you want to go live? Go live. Talk about a setup. Like, you know, I don't know. I find it odd. Yeah. So then that made the rounds, and then it's like, oh, it was a leak. It didn't mean to happen. Whatever. I'm like, bro. I've watched the. Well, not watched. I've listened to the clip, the IG Live thing. I'm like, what is this? Why? Yeah. So that he can go against the allegations, pal, or whatever, or like what some like trolls online are saying. Who cares? Like, now I can't take him seriously. Whenever I watch any of his stuff, I'm like, bro, this is the guy who's on IG Live porking.
Gross.
Disgusting. And I didn't need to see the follow up either, where the Shannon Sharp addressed it all on his show, and he was talking about how, you know, like, you know, I'm very quiet, I'm very reserved, and I'm very, you know, I don't talk about this stuff. And 2 minutes later, he's talking about using the ice pack and Michelle and all this. I'm like, I don't need to. You said you were private 2 minutes ago. Now you're going into explicit personal details about the person's name, using the ice pack. We don't need to know, Shannon, you clown. Like, we don't need to know that. Like,
yeah, the whole thing was strange. It was a money grab. I don't know. I don't even know what it was weird. I was watching that and I was like, this is not like cool or funny or like anything. There's nothing. And I know like Shannon Sharp, he has his own critics, you know, and he has a lot of people that are big fans. But I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it too much now? Are we seeing too much Shannon Sharp now at this stage?
Well, do we see too much of celebrities generally? Like, my thing is like, there's some of these things these famous people do. Cena was literally naked at the Oscars for no reason. Shannon's doing this, which is clearly a setup of him literally porking. Like, you know, Logan Paul's been involved in a million different things. I Show Speed's doing ridiculous stuff in all these countries around the world for clout.
Kai Cenat is everywhere.
Like a bunch of this stuff. I'm like, I guess this is what you need to do in order to get publicized and not shut down. Like on like a major scale, not even like what we're talking about our wrestling podcast, but just like on the global scale. Like you got to in Taylor Swift's case, some of the stuff she sings about and some stuff she does. I won't go into detail. I'm like, that's
Not good.
it's not. It's like a lot of this stuff. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It does. Yeah, is what it is. But yeah, Shannon Porking on Instagram Live. No, thank you. No, we don't need that. That's just no one needs to consume or be subjected to that content. We don't need that. Thanks.
So, what other topics did you want to talk about?
Quick wrestling one. Any thoughts on? I mean, we'll call it the new era changes. The new SmackDown logo, 2-hour Raw, pal.
Yeah. Wait, was there anything else like before we got to wrestling? Was there anything else sports related or something? Was there something else you want to talk about? I don't remember.
Not by way of sports that I could.
Or outside of wrestling, was there anything else?
Was there anything else? Because I mean, the main thing was Shannon Porking was the main thing I sent you in the in the Instagram messages, pal. No, I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean, we got all night, pal. We could do like a 3-hour podcast here. We could just keep going, pal. Make this like.
Well, yeah, but I don't think anything of value. Oh, yeah, that's right. Brian told me to tell you one of your sports teams was terrible. Was it
the Giants?
Yes, them.
The football team. Yep, Giants. Yep.
They laid an egg and played like crap, didn't they? Or something happened.
Yes, and his team did too. He's a Jets fan, so his team laid an egg too. Yeah. But the difference between our teams is the Giants have no expectations. The Giants were they were regularly what's the word? Speculated, considered. What's the word I'm looking for? Consensus. They were predicted to be a consensus awful team. The Jets, they're like Super Bowl favorites, like contenders, and they go out and get embarrassed on Monday night. The spotlight's on them. The sole Monday night football game. They got the big ESPN spotlight. They lose like 31-10 or whatever it was to the 49ers. Whereas the Giants lost, and it's like it's just miserable. It's just miserable. I'm just miserable being a Giants fan. My quarterback sucks. The Jets have Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer, another guy that the media tried to assassinate his character. They have these ridiculously lofty expectations. So I'm deflecting. I'm doing a political answer here, pal. Yeah. I was expecting the Giants to be bad, so I was not like that disappointed. Like I was like, whatever, another bad football season. At least I have the Mets going crazy. And I have the Knicks to look forward to. They're championship contenders. The Knicks are legitimate championship contenders this year. The Knicks are legitimately going to make some noise, I feel like.
I want to discuss this about general like NBA opinions ahead of the season, because to me, I'll be honest, I mean, we've talked about like the last 4 years throughout our podcast, but I feel like the last 5 years, since the Raptors won the title, I feel like everything since has been a blur. It's been like 6 seasons have happened. And like LeBron's been in LA for like 7 years all of a sudden. Like I feel like it was just yesterday, yeah. Like LeBron just left he just left dominating but for the Cavs and taking on the Warriors. Then Kawhi ran the table and won. And then all of a sudden it's now been just like we've had a different team every year now, which sets the Knicks up well in that case, if it's a new team every year. Because I mean the Nuggets are done. They got Westbrook now. And they've lost more role players. So the Nuggets will be another, 4-5 seed, get knocked out in the conference finals or the West semis. The Timberwolves, I don't think they'll be that good. I think the Knicks will be I think the Thunder will be quite good. I wouldn't mind a Knicks and Thunder finals. I don't know how that would sell for ratings, but
that would be great. Knicks in the finals. Doesn't matter who the Knicks play. Yeah. Doesn't matter who the Knicks play. If the Knicks made the finals,
Knicks in the Thunder finals. I mean, because like the 76ers will probably finish as the 3 seed and get bounced. I mean, they got Paul George. Who cares? COVID-13, PG airball, like he goes missing in the playoffs. Who cares? Like a bunch of this stuff with the NBA, I will say, with a lot of the players, not that I don't care anymore, but like I've lived 10 years of most of these players' careers. I know what Damian Lillard's going to give you. I know what Giannis will give me. I know what Jokic is. We know what Embiid is. We know what all of these star players are. We know what Harden is. To me, I look forward to the NBA season, see what Victor Wembanyama is going to do. Can Luka Doncic get any better from his 34, 9, and 10 average this past year? Like who's going to be the breakout star? That's more what I watch basketball for now. Like, is John Morant going to return to his best? Is Zion Williamson going to get through a season without an injury? That's sort of why I watch the NBA now. I know what LeBron James is. Like, he's going to be in year 22 now, averaging 23, 8, and 7, or whatever he averages in year 22. It's absurd. But, like, yeah, we know what Anthony Davis is. He'll have a month where he'll look like the best player in the sport, then he'll be injured for that 2 months. And then he'll make the Lakers will hobble to the playoffs as the 8th seed and get bounced. Oh, on to next year, pal. Like, the NBA is what it is. The NBA product is what it is. I want to see what OKC do. I want to see how the Knicks go. I don't want Boston to repeat. I don't care for Boston. I think they're the best ran franchise as far as, like, front office, but I don't like them. A lot of what they're about. I don't like Tatum. I don't. But, yeah, well, I'm curious to see how it plays out this year. It's 82 regular season games, most of which mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. The playoffs is where I think legacies get defined, pal. I'm honestly rooting for the Knicks in the East, to be honest. Like the Bucks thing was fun for about 3-4 years there. The Bucks' dream's over. Like, I'll say that now. Like, their year was obviously the year they won, and the follow-up year where Giannis pretty much nearly ran the table himself with his whole team injured. And Drew Holiday was good, but Middleton was out. They nearly won 2022. They nearly beat Boston, but that was it. That's my NBA opinion, pal. What do you think?
I legitimately think, I'm not being a homer when I say this, I legitimately think the Knicks are the best team in the league going into the season. I think that's like, I think a lot of people don't see it because the casual NBA fan is like, oh, the Knicks suck. They're not that good.
Yeah.
You know? But I genuinely think, like, that team has everything you need for a championship team.
Yeah.
They have a great point guard, pretty good bigs in Randall and Mitch, and, you know, I'm sure they'll find a center off the street to play backup center, or Tibbs will develop one of our guys into a good backup center, so I'm not worried about Hartenstein leaving. But you've got wings. You got Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby. The team's built to win in the NBA. Like, they're good.
I think they'll be the 2 seed, and then 2 seed in the East, and then be like the team to beat in the playoffs. So that's my prediction. I think some team will win more regular season games, but will it mean much? I don't know.
Yeah.
The NBA is sort of league. I can see Boston will win their 59 games, the Knicks win 56, and then the Bucks win 52, and maybe some other team, Indiana wins 50 or something. I don't know. And then that's going to be your Eastern Conference. And then from there, it's like, yeah, it's usuals, pal. Miami. Oh, look, it's 76ers finished 6th. Oh, look, it's Atlanta Hawks. I don't know. Like, it's the same collection of teams. So
yeah, if the Eastern Conference comes down to the Celtics and the Knicks, Celtics and the Knicks. You mean to tell me that Jason Tatum is going to do anything against OG Anunoby and Hart and all these guys, Mikal Bridges, like, Tatum and Brown are going to go crazy against them? I mean, I'm not worried about Brown. Jaylen Brown will get his. But Tatum? You think Tatum's not a playoff guy. And he's not great as, like, your best player. Like, he's an ideal, like, 1B in a perfect world, you know? He's not good to be an elite player. Like, he's not going to be, like, setting the world on fire against those guys, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm too excited. I'm really trying to hold my expectations for the Knicks. Like, I'm really trying to, like, level out because I don't want to get let down. I don't want to get disappointed. Yeah. I had this last year with the Mets, 2023 going into the season. Oh my God, we got Scherzer, DeGrom, not even that. Then Edwin Diaz blows out his knee celebrating after Puerto Rico defeats the Dominican Republic or whoever it was in the World Baseball Classic. Before the season even starts, our closer blows out his knee. And I'm like, all right, there we go. Got all these expectations, made all these big signings. And, so every time I get my hopes up, something bad happens to one of my teams. So,
well, really, once again, the thing with the NBA, this is from me who's been pretty diehard into watching since 2014, since I was like 12. Nothing really genuinely matters until about April, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, like, during the season, there'll be the MVP race, which,
Yeah.
especially these past few years, the last 2 years especially, it's burned me out as a fan watching how like the Jokic stuff's really burnt me out, and how it's just the thing of he needs to win every year because of how he plays. Like, no, there are guys who had better say. I mean, we beat this to death. Luka had a better year last year. Shea had a better year last year. Give it to Jokic just because
He's Jokic, pal.
you can't give Jokic a fourth. You just can't. He's playing with Westbrook. His team will finish the 4 seed. He'll put up his 27, 9, 10. That's what he does. Giannis puts up 31, 12, and 6. No one cares. Shea puts up 36 and like 3 steals. No one cares.
Nope.
Luka's gonna average 34, 9, and 8 again, probably. No one cares. Like, it's I don't know. So there's that. That's really burnt me out. The whole discourse 2 years ago that Jokic was robbed of the MVP, the MVP clearly deserved. That bothered me quite a bit. We've discussed this quite a bit. Anyway, but yeah, going to season 9, okay, nothing really matters until the playoffs, which once you get to the playoffs, then the Knicks who will be the 2 or the 3 seed. Are they going to perform? Because you'll probably play a 43-win team in the first round of the playoffs. You'll probably play Indiana, who like have Halliburton injured half the season and just scrape the playoffs. Or you play Miami, pal, who are struggling through the season and they roll into the playoffs. Like, you play a team like that, then you'll play a more content. Then you'll play the 76ers with Paul George in the second round, probably roll them, and then you play the Celtics in the conference finals, probably. So that's probably what a season looks like for the Knicks. So yeah, hope it goes well. I'm rooting for them. So because I mean the Bulls will be nowhere near it. We'll win 30 games and be a laughing stock this year. Josh Giddey, Levine doesn't want to be there. Io DeSunmu and Kobe White are our best players, but Giddey's now here. He'll put up nice stats, pal. We'll win random games in like the middle of December. We'll enter Philadelphia, pal, on a Monday night and roll the 76ers, and Giddey will have a triple-double. And everyone will be like, oh my God, Giddey's the next break. It's like, we'll win 31 games. Who cares? Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, like I'm keeping my expectations low for the Knicks. I do think they're the best team going into the offseason, but championships are not won in July. They're not won in August. They're not won in September. Championships are won in April and May and June, like you said. Mm-hmm. So I gotta see him on the court. But the main thing with the NBA is honestly, it all boils down to health. Like, honestly, whoever's healthiest, the Celtics were the healthiest team. They won the title. It's pretty much simple math at this point. With the way guys are getting injured, it's just like if you're the healthiest team, you're gonna win. We've seen it. That's what happened with the Raptors in 2019. The Warriors all got hurt. Giannis and Holiday were all healthy in 2021. They were the healthiest team. The Nuggets, they were the healthiest team when they won the title.
The Lakers, the year they won, the healthiest and best put together team.
Yep.
They were by far the best. Like, this is what it is now. 100%.
It's just, yeah. The Knicks were we were decimated with injuries. Randall was out. Brunson even broke his hand at the end. Josh Hart got hurt. OG Anunoby pulls his hamstring. But
what I don't want to see from Knicks fans, which is a very Knicks fan thing, is in late November, when it's like a month in and the Knicks lose 3 straight games, there's not... Calm down. It's okay.
It's New York media, bro. You will see that.
I know that's what will happen, right? And the same thing, Jokic plays 2 good games, all of a sudden give him his 5th MVP, and it's like, whatever. But like with the Knicks, they lose 2 straight games. They lose a game to Portland, like a road game off of back-to-back, and then they roll into a home game against Philadelphia, and Philadelphia win by a point in overtime, and Embiid is like 40 and 12. And all the Knicks fans are like, this is not good enough, burning a jersey, and it's like, who cares, And
I know, like the New York sports teams, like us as fans, we are very sensational. Like we sensationalize things a lot, but like honestly, for the most part, it's usually warranted. Like typically with New York fans, I can't speak for like the other like crazy fan bases like Boston or Chicago or Philly, but with New York fans, it's pretty warranted. Like for example, the Yankees. But hear me out. Just hear me out. The Yankees have the best, like one of the best records in the MLB, but they suck. Like, they're not as good as their record. They don't suck, but they're not as good as their record, or they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. They have gaping holes. So like if I saw that with the Knicks, I would be like, I don't think that's warranted. You know, okay, we had a bad stretch. We lost 3 games. Like it happens, you know. But like with the Jets have this great team on paper and they get blown out on Monday night. Like everybody has a right to, like, you should freak out. The team sucked. The team looked bad. They're not worthy of this hype. So usually it's like warranted. But there is like that fatigue with Knicks fans. It's gonna happen. The Knicks are gonna have a stretch where they lose 3-4 games in a row, where they barely beat Charlotte. You know, they lose 3 games in a row and then they beat Charlotte by like a point in overtime. And Stephen A. Smith's gonna be like, this team is over. Oh, we need Donovan Mitchell. That's the thing. It's Stephen A. Smith. I blame Stephen A. Smith for this. Stephen A. Smith, it disgusts me to my core that Stephen A. Smith is the face of New York Knicks fans. The public face of New York Knicks fans. It's so disgusting. It's so gross. He is not a Knicks fan. He's not. He was a Kobe fan when Kobe was playing. And now he's a LeBron fan. He is not a Knicks fan. And I hate that he parades it around when they're good. He's like, he shows up at backstage at Knicks games and is like, yeah, I'm here. We're here. It drives me nuts. It literally drives me off the wall. And he's the problem. He'll go on First Take like he did, what was that? Like December last year. He's like, Jalen Brunson is a number 2. Jalen Brunson is not a true number 1 superstar. We need Donovan Mitchell. Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, he brainwashes these people. And I'm watching this and I'm like, I've been watching Donovan Mitchell in Utah for 7 years. What has Donovan Mitchell done aside from have a good series with Jamal Murray in the bubble where they went back and forth? What has Donovan Mitchell done? Can you tell me what Donovan Mitchell has done aside from that? That is the highlight of his career, was losing that series to the Nuggets. That's literally the highlight of his career. But Stephen A. Smith talks about this guy like he's the second coming of like Isaiah Thomas in his prime. Not Celtics Isaiah Thomas, the other Isaiah Thomas from the Pistons. Like he's prime Isaiah Thomas. It's a great elite point guard. Like, yeah, it's all Stephen A. Smith's fault. I blame him. But non-Knicks NBA opinions. I'm intrigued to see what Dallas looks like now with their revamped roster. They intrigued me. I'm intrigued by OKC. I want to see if Chet Holmgren can take the next step. Can he go from being like this guy that's on the cusp of being a really great player to being a great player? You know, or is he going to regress? He's kind of at that stage, I feel like, where he did just enough in his rookie year where people are like, oh, this guy could be good. But it also, I can see it where he takes a step back and then everybody's like, yeah, okay, he's just another guy. You know? And I think he's the X factor there. I think they did an addition by subtraction by trading away your guy, Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan, did you see him say that like the Kings are going to go to the Western Conference Finals or whatever he said?
Yeah, talk about these podcasts as we're doing before. I was like, yeah, just like, why is DeMar DeRozan on podcasts at all? Let alone saying that. Like, what? Yeah, like, if I played for the Raptors in 2019, we're winning it all. Like, no, you're getting bounced in the second round, dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, DeMar,
why didn't you guys win then?
Like, DeMar, I loved you for like 2.5 years on the Bulls, but what are you saying?
Like, yeah, he's nuts. He's nuts. Yeah, so I think the Lakers are going to be bad. That's probably my hottest take. I think the Lakers are not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, 100%. They're going to have games against like the Nets where the whole point of the game is like getting a house of highlights clip of Bronny getting a pass from LeBron and like Bronny like lays it up. And then everyone's going to be commenting they're down 22. They're losing at home to the Nets. And this is what you're posting. Like, I mean, the Lakers will win their 38 games. I think they're going to make a play. I agree with you. It's not a well put together roster. They couldn't get anyone in the offseason. And what they had last year wasn't that good to begin with. So, yeah, dear.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's LeBron and AD, very top heavy. Who's their third best guy now? I'm struggling.
Austin Reeves has been for like 2 years.
Yeah, is it? I was gonna say D'Lo, but it's not D'Lo. No. Lakers fans hate him. Lakers fans hate D'Lo. It's hilarious. Where are you at with other sports? Are you keeping up? Like, are you getting into the NFL? I know the rest of the world is kind of getting into it now. I know, like, I've noticed that like like internationally, the NFL's growing? Is it hitting you in Australia? Are you like tapping in at all?
It's growing in the sense of that I can tell people like wearing NFL jerseys or like wearing
Who
gear
are they
that
wearing? Like Mahomes?
like pop culture one. Yeah, I mean like you see a lot of like Mahomes. You see like like a like a pop culture like a Miami Dolphins just like a shirt just like Dolphins established 19 whatever like the
Yeah, yeah.
Chiefs people wearing that Bills or whatever it's like different teams. As far as the NFL itself, I mean I follow loosely. Everyone who's listened to our show knows my love for the Tennessee
Oh
Titans,
my
which is
god,
very random. Will they be good this year? Probably not. They'll probably
they're
be
bad.
average.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're bad. They're bad.
I know they're not great. I mean, optimistically, they might scrape 500 if they get some favourable results. They play some teams with injuries the week they play them, but they'll probably win like 5 games. And it's like, who
Yeah,
cares?
they probably win like 7. That'd be
Yeah. So I mean, that's my team. But like, how much do I follow that? I mean, in all honesty, it's similar to wrestling. Like, I don't have like the capacity to be following the results and following as much as I'd like to potentially. Like an ideal world, let's say 4 years ago, I'd be following this quite a bit, but I don't at the moment. But yeah, don't
But
answer
it
that.
is growing, right? Like the awareness out there, like if you walk,
I'd say so.
like if you walked into a restaurant, like you might see NFL games playing.
Well, pal, the Australian football I play because there's like we use a bunch of different like ovals
Yeah.
on. It was like Monday nights, I think Wednesdays, but mainly Wednesday nights. The American football, like the gridiron American football people would like do their like trainings or whatever, and they keep all their gear in the gear area next to us, and they've got obviously helmets, pads. They've got all the different like these different like little equipment. They've got like obviously agility poles and all this stuff they do. Like their trainings like feels like getting there at like 5 o'clock. They're there till like 9 p.m. It's like a big community thing. Like people just like love playing American football. So it's growing where I'm at, just in that sense. Like people are playing, let alone supporting and watching it. So
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. I mean, they had a game in Brazil. On the first on last Friday, the second game of the year was in Brazil. The ratings are going through the roof. More people are watching the NFL than ever before.
Why do you think that is? Do you think there's a reason?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I can tell you exactly what the reason is. Every single game is important, and every single game matters. Like you were saying with the NBA, the first 75 games of the season don't matter. The NFL, there's 17 games in the regular season, and they're all important, and they're all, for the most part, good games. The NFL is the best product out of the 4 major sports and soccer, the 4 major American sports and soccer. The NFL is the best product. The MLB is boring as shit, and people like me that are crazy like it, and old people like it. And the NBA, the regular season doesn't matter. Jokic is given an MVP as a participation trophy, and the NBA Finals goes to whatever team is healthy.
Yeah, that you just summed up the NBA basically.
Yeah.
Like I know how LeBron, I mean, for his 22nd year, shows up, at this time of year now and goes, I've got 82 games to look forward to. I've pretty much got to average my 27, 8, and 8, or else I'll be crucified everywhere.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Exactly.
6 months of just pointless. Oh, I'm at Brooklyn tonight, pal. Got to play against the Nets team where half my Lakers best players are out, half their best players are out, and this game means nothing.
Yeah. So there's that. And then the NHL. The NHL is a great product. It's a great sport. Hockey's a fun sport to watch, but just the players are dry, don't have a lot of personality. Nobody knows who they are. They all wear helmets. They don't market their sport very well. And then soccer, Messi's like 40, Ronaldo's like 40. Nobody cares about them. Like people care about them because they love them as stars, but like Messi sits out games that are like on artificial turf. He doesn't want to get hurt. Like soccer just doesn't have that oomph like it did maybe like 4, 5, 6 years ago. It just is kind of wearing out. So like the NFL is just the best product. On a week to week basis. All the games are pretty good. Like I was saying, they're marketing their stars better. People know who like Patrick Mahomes is. They know who Travis Kelce is. They know Jalen Hurts. They know some of their stars are getting out there and getting recognized. Like Tyreek Hill is super famous, has a podcast, Twitch, like. So I think
as well with the sports, sorry to jump in, but like
Yeah.
the way the sports are, it's not like with like the scoring, for instance, as well. So, I mean, this all ties back to there being, let's say, 16, 17 games, and then like a couple of like 3 weeks of playoffs, basically.
Yeah.
And that's your season. It means more. But like scoring, for instance, soccer, there isn't enough scoring. That's like the main. It's like, okay, a game can end 0-0 after 90 minutes. What's the point? Or there might be one goal in 90 minutes. So that's a big turn off for a lot of people with soccer, especially in like the Western world, particularly. But basketball is just run back and forth, put the ball in the goal, run back and forth. The score probably be 110 to 100, whatever. And to be like, okay, at least it's like, American football, okay, 27 to 17 might be a score, and you've had about maybe 6 to 10 different scoring plays during the game, where there's enough to where something will happen every sort of few minutes, most part. And then if a team's really good defensively, then that'll put the kibosh on. But some teams are really fun to watch offensively, so they'll score fairly regularly, but it's not just slow in your face, scoring every 2 seconds. So it means nothing. Like it's a good balance of a product. And I agree. It's the best thing going as far as American options. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like the general, like the most popular sports, you know. I mean, like UFC, they don't have star power anymore. You know, Connor's retired pretty much. You know,
Yeah.
boxing is like all rigged, and you know the best guys don't fight each other until they're like too old and nobody cares anymore.
Then when they lose, it's like when Tyson Fury lost to Usyk, it's like, oh well,
Cares,
Fury had his like 3-4 years in the sunlight. He's fighting Wilder. He's he's like the face of boxing. Well, and then I'm like, okay, you fight a guy who's better than you. Finally, after 3 years of negotiations and drama, and oh no, this fight's contracted actually, and no one cares to see the fight there. And then he just loses. It's like, okay, great.
And exactly. And like tennis is a legitimately fun sport to watch, but here in America, it's like, oh, Serena Williams isn't playing. Okay, I don't care.
I know.
You know, or Rafael Nadal's not playing. Okay, I don't care. Or the other guy, Djokovic.
When America's got Coco Gauff, who I'd imagine realistically should be like not like the next Serena per se, like a massive star. She's my age. I was maybe like a year younger.
She should be 20. She should be huge. Yeah, I agree.
She's like 20. She made it like professional women's, like she was in Grand Slam tournaments like 4 years ago. Like she was like 15 in like professional women's Grand Slam tennis. She's like a year younger than me. She's like won the US Open, like one of the Grand Slams like this year.
Yeah.
I think. She should be like the biggest thing, and like it should be so popular. But it says, oh yeah, not Serena.
Yeah, literally that's the attitude. Oh, Serena Williams? Okay. Serena Williams not there. I don't want to watch it. It's like it's kind of weird how that like tennis is a whole different thing. We could be here for like 20 minutes talking about tennis, but it is weird how that exists. Like cricket and some of the other sports that are popular outside of America, like I don't know. It's just they just don't make the rounds out here. You know, like cricket seems like a fun sport to watch. Like it's similar to baseball from my vantage point, the little I know about it. But
this is the thing with cricket is that like when you got baseball is so mainstream in the US, I mean, cricket doesn't really have a place because it's too similar.
Yeah,
it's a lot of batter will face the pitchers or bowls as cricket is the case. Will they score? Will they not? A lot of nothing happening. It's for the standard person, it's considered boring as a sport. So like it's like I know like they tried like a T10 format of cricket in the United States. There's like a test, so like a really short version. Like games are super quick. One team bats for an hour, the other team bats for an hour, and the game's over. Because like the thing with cricket is like it's like a 5-day thing. Like you stand outside most of the day for like 5 days, and like outside of like purists who love the sport and can watch it like every day for the rest of their life, people aren't watching that anymore. People are more interested in like the short format stuff that's like over in 2 hours, and just people hitting massive shots, and like that's what people are into. That's what that's what get a good clip on TikTok. That's what people care to see. So
exactly, yeah. And the other thing too with the NFL, it's like a gathering. It's like a get together. There's a game Monday night. Come on over. Come on. My wife will make chips and nachos and stuff, and let's hang out. And that's like it brings people together. And it's like a camaraderie to it. It's really cool. I think Yeah, I think if you spend some time in the States, you would kind of see why the NFL is so huge, like really quick.
I get it.
You would get it really quick, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
everything,
yeah,
everything was saying, I get it. I think with the NBA needs to do a 58 game regular season where they do like you play each team twice, once in your building, once in their building, and really like make it simple. Do that because like I know in Europe with the Premier League for football, soccer, for instance, they play 38 games, which is obviously it's double what the NFL does essentially, but it's pretty much the same format. Okay, you play each team twice, once in your arena, once in their arena. And it's not just overkill of the product. You're not watching a game every 2 days. You're not watching back-to-back games. Like, no.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then there's wrestling.
Oh,
The wrestling portion, pal. So wrestling's like in between, just in the middle of all this chaos with the sports. And I think it kind of helps that the NBA and like the MLB are all in like a downturn in popularity. It kind of helps WWE in a way. People just like, oh, okay, like, why would I watch basketball? I'm gonna see the same old thing. Like, I can go watch WWE now.
yeah.
WWE, I think there's a legitimate argument that you could say WWE is more popular than it was during the Attitude Era right now.
Yeah.
There's a legitimate case to be made for that. And I really don't know what it is because WWE doesn't have a guy at the helm that is like that has the aura of like, because Roman Reigns, a full-time guy. Roman Reigns excluded. WWE doesn't have a guy with aura that can propel them to this popularity. So I'm kind of like trying to put a finger on the pulse of what it is about WWE right now that's connecting it so well. Like Cody Rhodes, with all due respect to him, and Gunther, they're the two champions right now. But Cody's the face of the company, the full-time guy, top guy. With all due respect to Cody, let's be realistic here. If we take Cody Rhodes, this version of him, drop him in 1999, right? Where you've got Stone Cold, Rock, you got Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, but Mankind. Those are the 5 biggest guys, and Undertaker. Those are the 6 biggest guys. Would Cody go ahead of any of them, or would he be the 7th biggest guy if you drop him right there in 1999? You drop this version of Cody. Maybe like you could say he's ahead of Mick Foley.
Yeah.
He's not going to be ahead of Austin. He's not going to be ahead of Rock, obviously. Those two not even in the discussion. Is he ahead of Triple H? Hey, can you make that argument? Can you say
98, 99? Probably. Like 2000 and on, no.
So yeah, you drop Cody there in 99, right? It's Austin, Rock, and then what? Then you've got Undertaker probably 3rd, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Who was the other guy? So there's Triple H, Mick Foley,
Kane, even
yeah.
You
So
like Vince McMahon's on screen, like these sort of people, yeah.
So Cody's probably like 4th, maybe, like behind Undertaker, and then he's above Triple H and above even 99. Triple H was on fire in 99. That's when he won the title. I don't know. I think Cody would probably be the 5th guy. I think.
But that's what like WWE does what the NFL does. Like the brand is the big thing, and then like the accessibility, in WWE sense, the characters, the storylines is largely what it is. It isn't so much just big superstars driving the league.
But the NFL, they have Mahomes, Kelsey, and Taylor Swift is kind of like driving them, at the helm.
And you can say WWE has Roman, Triple H, and The Rock. Like you could say the same thing,
Right, but this was all happening before The Rock even came back. The Rock came back at the height of it and tried to make it all about himself, Like this was all this was in place already.
Like WWE's Logan Paul, pal, yeah.
Yeah, like you got Roman Reigns, who's the part-time guy, who's the biggest star. Like, but my point being is like WWE's top guy would be 5th, 6th in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And you drop him in the Ruthless Aggression Era, he's behind Cena, Batista, Edge, Triple H, he's like 5th or 6th, maybe 7th in the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Yeah.
So my point being is this version of Cody, we haven't seen him from an aura standpoint how he doesn't have that aura of like these elite guys, you know. And Rollins doesn't have that aura. We've been there, done that, discussed that. So it's really interesting what it is with WWE. I guess it is like, I guess it's just the fact that we all wanted to love, I think that's what it is. We all wanted to love WWE for the past 15 years. Let's say back from when you started watching in 2011.
Yeah.
We've all wanted to love and watch WWE during that period. But the man, the mastermind, the evil mastermind pulling the strings, pal, made us all kind of fall out of love with it, you know? And I guess it's just the simple fact that the show is watchable again and it's good content that people are like, oh, I've always loved WWE. Now I can actually love it because I enjoy watching it.
Pretty much, yeah. People want to like it. That's the thing. That's what we found last 2 years, pal. This is our grading Triple H 2 years in, pal. We want to like it, and Triple H just makes like mostly the fairly common sense, straightforward decisions that people can enjoy. So yeah, gives us the room to like it.
Yeah, is he? So people are asking the question already. Is he the best booker of all time?
Probably. But I think there needs to be more of a body of work of stuff he's done before we can categorically say it. But
Who's the
probably,
best
yeah.
booker? Is it Vince? Are you giving Vince that?
Vince is a bit like Roman Reigns' on-screen career. There's a lot of it was so bad. I disqualify it, and all the great things he did, I discredit it because of how bad all of the stuff he produced was. I mean, I remember the Smartbusters said it best. Like it was like 2019, and like they said like wrestling's been bad as long as it's been good at this point, because that was by the time after 15 years of it being not good for like PG, and then the tail of the Ruthless Aggression era, and then obviously a bulk of the 90s weren't good. From like before 97 really, a lot of that's bad. And then like the 80s had its boom period, and it was like more sporadic, content was more like, but yeah, he'll get there. He'll get there. As long as he stays in good health, Paul Levesque, and there's no cardiac BS, and there's none, no issues with health. He's on his way to being there. I mean, you run a competent WWE as he's running, people love that, and there's little to complain about, really big picture. So
is there? I think like we were kind of getting kind of radical earlier, so we might as well get radical here for a moment too. Is like, you think we'll ever see another human being like Vince McMahon in our lifetime? Just in anything in general, life. Like this guy is you could argue he's the most unique and fascinating person of our lifetime. You could argue it. It's like, I don't know if that we'll ever see a person with more notoriety and more fame that has more dirt, that's openly public knowledge about them, and just nothing ever happened to him. Like for example, with P. Diddy, the stuff with Diddy, it's not exactly public knowledge. Like we know, it's becoming public knowledge now that Diddy's a psychopath. But with Vince, it's been public knowledge since the 80s with like all the cover-ups and all the scandals and all this stuff. And nothing ever happened to him. It's like, it's unbelievable. And he was able to get away with so much. Like I really feel like I really feel like they could make, like, somebody could take Vince McMahon and WWE's backstage and the real life from the time he was like getting into the WWE under his dad in like the 70s. They could take that all the way up until the end of his career, just to go off of real life events that actually happened. And they could make like a 7-season drama TV show just off real life events.
You mentioned earlier about your general, concerns and fears, whatever, but like feeling about America as a whole.
Yeah.
And like the country itself. The environment that's exists now and will probably continue to develop itself going forward, just with like culture, pop culture, how people, get cancelled over anything. You can't say anything. Agendas become very clear, whatever, whatever. To answer your question, will there ever be another person like Vince? No, because they won't make it in the first place. They won't get to a level of success to where it's, yeah, no, I don't think there will be, to be honest. I think Vince McMahon is, I well, he's larger than life as a, like he's a like his name. I don't know, like the most complicated. Yeah, I mean the documentary will paint a picture and it'll help me put the words in my mouth as far as what Vince McMahon, like how you define Vince McMahon. But will there be another one? No. People like that aren't created anymore. Like Vince McMahon is he's someone. Yeah, you saw because Vince was born when like the 1940s.
Yeah, like 47 or something like that.
People of that time have a different sort of devotion, a different sort of
Right.
drive. They go a lot of what was the rules were back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Very different rules, like general rules. Things you could get away with, things you couldn't get away with then. Very different. And Vince rode off that for 40 years, running the WWE as times changed gradually. And he got to the 2020s and it was just too much. And like he just had to be removed, basically, in 2022. But yeah, it's unbelievable. There won't be another. There won't be anyone even close remotely in the ballpark of Vince McMahon ever again. Ever.
Yeah, I think like the one person that jumps to mind is like Dana White. That's like, hovering in the air like 150 miles away from like Vince McMahon.
Mm.
You know, like his upbringing and his backstory is crazy and all the allegations and all this stuff. But like, I just don't think, I don't think in, who knows? I don't think in 20 years time we'll be witnessing a hit piece documentary on Dana White that shakes up the world,
Yeah.
And like, I don't think there'll be like all these crazy allegations and like stuff, like even crazier allegations.
Yeah.
But Dana White's one that jumps to mind, But yeah, let's talk about Chris Jericho for a minute. I gotta get this out, This is just, we gotta have another conversation about Chris Jericho. Has there been? I don't think. I think the answer is. I think the answer is no. There hasn't. Have we ever seen a bigger fall from grace than Chris Jericho's fall from grace? As like Ric Flair was
No.
kind of close. Ric Flair was like almost there, and then like Ric Flair drip came out, and he got just propelled back into pop culture.
Mm.
I don't think we've ever seen it, bro. Like realistically, where do you rank Chris Jericho now all time? Like we had him in the top 8, top 12 conversation when like back in 2020 when AEW was first getting kind of hot and going, everybody had him in like that top 7, top 8, top 12. Where is he now? Like top 30? Like the back end, like 27, 28? Like
he's probably the only wrestler I can think of in the last 5 years whose rankings actively going down.
yeah.
Like you think anything you do theoretically should add to your legacy, add to the things you're doing. You did this program, you had this storyline in this match. With him, it's unbelievable. I mean, the fall off, like people discussing him on the verge of a Mount Rushmore. Like, yeah, like you have your 27-year wrestling career, you're like a WWE main eventer in every different era. You do it all in WWE. You have most Intercontinental title runs. You appear at the big WrestleMania matches. You have your classics, your great match catalog. He's wrestled everyone. He's done it all. He goes to All Elite Wrestling. He's the guy. He's like driving this company to compete with WWE. There's nothing he can't do. This is the perfect talent. Like he's the goat of reinvention. He gets it. He is the king. And now we're sitting here in 2024, and it's just like he can't retire soon enough. he can't get off our screen and be missed soon enough. Like I honestly reckon if he just went off screen, just he retired tomorrow on Twitter and didn't appear on anything for 2 more years. Even 2 years time, I'd be like, yeah, I'm still getting over what you provided for us from 2020 till 2024. I'm still getting over that 5 years of crap, basically. 5 years of just unnecessary trash in all sense of the word. And like, yeah, is there a bigger fault? I mean, yeah, I initially had him ranked top 10, and last year, I think our 2023 rankings of
He was like
wrestlers, I think I
18 or
had him like,
something.
yeah, like 16, 18, top 20 definitely. I mean, I've dropped him. He's below Brian Danielson now to me. Like he's gone below Daniel Bryan. He just keeps going down. He's now top 30, maybe. Just he's now more towards Kevin Nash than he is towards Brock Lesnar, as he initially
Wow.
was. So unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, like I got him. I probably got him like the back end of the top 30. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when it comes to Jericho, what's fascinating about him is like he's what's the word? Like let's analyze his peak for a minute. His peak is probably what 2001 to 2019. Would you say that's Jericho? Like, well, what would you say is the absolute prime? 01 to like 2009.
I'd say no. I mean, obviously, he has periods in there where he's like getting more notoriety, or he's in more interesting storylines. But yeah, let's call it back end of 2000 through until
09.
I'd say '09. Because most of the stuff in 2010s was like he was playing up. Well, he's Chris Jericho. See what he can do. Like in his 2012 stuff with Punk, his 2016, 17 thing with Owens, his 20. Like that was more stuff playing on his reputation, his big legacy. But really, yeah, 2000s mostly.
Yeah, like let's have a real conversation about this guy. Like he's very famous, yes. People know who Chris Jericho is, you know. Um like I was saying, kind of like, you know, like 2000-ish is when he gets really popping.
Mm.
But he spent most of his career as a mid-carder in WWE. A mid-card, upper mid-card guy.
Mm.
He was never really trusted as like the face of the company. He had a few months there when he won the undisputed title. He had a few months of being on top, like 5 months. And that was kind of it. He was an upper mid card guy, even mid card guy at points. Like he's fighting Christian at WrestleMania in his prime. Was he ever that good? As good as we made him? Was he ever actually like a top 10 guy? Or were we just crazy? Like were we just on crazy
Overreacting.
pills?
Overreacting. Yeah.
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 He's what, like a 5-time world champion. He's done a lot of good stuff. You know, the feud with Shawn Michaels in 03 and then again in 08 was incredible. Yeah, interesting, huh?
There you go, pal. Yeah, I think we'll call it there.
Yeah.
I suppose. Chris Jericho, the fall off. Who'd have thought that? That's our topic to close out the lead. Hey, pal.
well, we gotta close on a high note, pal. We gotta close on a
Yeah.
high note. Can't close out on Jericho. But Raw is going back to 2 hours. Like
Do,
that.
do, do you like that, Pags? I think it's a good thing generally. I mean, for years, 3 hours is too much for a Raw. I mean, 2 hours is perfect.
Yeah, it's
Make it more
funny.
must-see.
It's funny how they change it when there's like 4 months left on the NBC on the USA contract. You
Yeah.
know, there's literally like 4 months, 5 months left, and then they change it down to 2 hours. Like, why not just let it ride at 3 hours at this point?
I don't know.
Go
I
into-
guess to test it out to see how it goes. I mean, it'll be better for everyone. I think. I mean, yeah, I saw some people on like wrestling social media platforms. Oh, like, why would anyone want less wrestling? I'm like, because people have lives, because people have other things to do. Like, that's why they want less. Like, they want more quality and less quantity. But anyway,
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good thing. I think SmackDown going to NBC or going to USA, I think is good too. I think overall that's going to be better. Like Fox was not great. Like, what's your overall thoughts on the Fox era of SmackDown? Overall, like,
I'll think there was some really bad stuff in this era. Like the SmackDown on Fox obviously includes 2020 and like 2019, 2020, and like those like the dark ages where it was just like the worst show on television. And yeah, there was. I mean, I'll reflect on it as two things. It's the Bloodline era where it was the Roman Reigns show for like 3 years, and like everything involving the Bloodline was like the best thing on the show basically for that like 3 year period. But before that, it was the Dark Ages. It was some of the worst content we've ever seen. I'd be coming on here early 2020 yelling about everything they do on SmackDown, how bad the show is, how Bruce Pritchard's the clown. And then, yeah, 2018 was good for SmackDown on the whole. Like 2018 SmackDown was Becky Lynch was good, Planet Champion Bryan was good. And then people talk about 2016. That was still SmackDown on Fox. That was like the first year, I think.
No, the first year was 2019.
Oh, in that case, no, scrap that. Yeah,
the first SmackDown on Fox, I think, was when Brock beat Kofi for the title, and The Rock was there.
Yeah, in that case, it was Dark Ages for a year and a half. Then it was the Roman era, and that's been SmackDown on Fox. So, yeah, what do you think, pal? What are your honest, ruthless opinions, pal?
I think Fox did a lot to help make WWE mainstream again.
Yeah,
I think Fox had a big hand in that. You know, Fox just more accessible, more televisions, more people have Fox. I think it's great in that respect, in that aspect. But yeah, like from a content standpoint, it's kind of rocky. Like you know, Vince McMahon was probably making all these promises to Fox. He's like, yeah, you're gonna have Becky Lynch, you're gonna have The Rock. I'm bringing Conor McGregor in, pal. You know, like you're gonna have all these big stars, and then it was just like, oh, it's Roman Reigns and like a bunch of nobodies. You know, like Roman Reigns and Cesaro, pal. That's the big program on Fox. That's what Fox is paying $1 billion for, bro. You know,
you bring up the dollar figures. That's what we're paying $1 billion for. But
yeah, the Fox executives are like, wait, hold on. You promised us The Rock and Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey and my grandma, and I'm getting Cesaro, Antonio Cesaro, pal. Good.
I got a follow-up question on SmackDown Fox. Just wrestling generally. What's your favorite moment in the last 5 years?
In wrestling in general.
Any wrestling, any moment, any show, anything. What's your favorite thing in the last 5 years?
My favorite thing. Wow, that's tough. I
can give you like I have like a 3 to 5 that's like my go-to.
Yeah, I gotta think on that. I'm trying to narrow it down to one though. You go ahead, give me yours. Good.
I'm going to give you my like 5.
Yeah, give me your 5.
For the last 5 years, my highlights last 5 years, Edge's return, like the moment, like Royal Rumble 2020, Edge's return, that was incredible. CM Punk's the first dance at AW Rampage, everything about that was just like, I never thought I'd see that ever. So that was very cool. Survivor Series 2023, like that, like ending where like Randy Orton was a shock return, then Punk came out, and like no one saw it coming, and that was unbelievable. And then for me, it was the 2 Roman and Cody matches. So Roman and Cody from 39 and Roman and Cody from 40 are like my 2 like highlight matches or just things. That for me is like, if I look back, what's the last 5 years? What's the if I had to ballpoint 5 moments I'd watch again or wanted to be a part of again, like those are the 5 for me. But yeah,
I think for me, if I got to narrow it down to one, I'm gonna say the formation of AEW. That whole era and that period was amazing to really watch what it was and watch it be born. You know, now we know what AEW is now. You know, it's a completely night and day product. Now, watching it from the ground up, being at the second AEW show ever, Fight for the Fallen in Jacksonville, being there in person, experiencing that, back when AEW could sell out arenas. You know, it was like a 6,000 seat venue. I mean, that was like one of the best. That was one of the most fun I've ever had at a wrestling show. You know, watching Cody and Dustin versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I forgot who he wrestled, but seeing Kenny Omega in his prime when he could still go, you know, when he was still in his mid-30s at the peak of what he was, and just watching it, like I felt like I was a part of something, you know, like I was a part of this revolution, to use the cliche term. You know, it was great. It like that moment of Double or Nothing, the first AEW pay per view. That was like watching something fresh. I want to go back and watch that pay per view just to see, like, just to kind of compare, like, kind of put myself back in a time frame, and then kind of compare and like contrast what AEW was and what it is now. You know, seeing that image of Bret Hart holding the AEW title for the main event, John Moxley coming through the crowd making his debut. You know, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, that phenomenal tag team match. Just the hype, like, man, that was awesome, bro. And I don't think we're gonna see anything like that again in our lifetime either. I don't. If not, the chances are there's not going to be any billionaires with unlimited pockets starting wrestling promotions anytime soon. You know.
While like the big evil WWE is like hated by all.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, that's not gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Yeah,
Wow.
I was so excited, bro, watching that AEW, watching the first Double or Nothing. I was so excited, bro. It was such a great show.
Because you watch that first like 2 years, you're watching, this could be anything.
And then next thing you know, CM Punk's here.
And you think, this is like, what could be, you know? And then, then we find out what it really is about, what it really is, and it's like, you know, but yeah, it was that honeymoon phase was so fun, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and the star power that AEW had. MJF, Cody, CM Punk, all in the same company on the same 2-hour television show at the same time, and they somehow floundered that. It's remarkable. I want to talk about this while we're talking wrestling for a second. Swerve Strickland made some headlines re-signing with AEW. Are you aware of this?
I'm already re-signed. What were the headline? What was the discourse, pal?
So he re-signed for a massive payday. Like allegedly, he's just under like Cody and like MJF money, like that, like the big dogs, like Randy Orton, like he's just underneath those guys. And you know, Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, they tried to spin this like, oh, WWE bad, you know, the anti-WWE thing, and they're like, oh, WWE didn't think Swerve Strickland was worth that money. They say that like it's a bad thing. You know, they're trying to push the agenda, like racial undertones, you know. Oh, WWE doesn't want to pay a black man. Like you see that kind of stuff going on. Triple H doesn't want to pay a black man, you know. The reality of the situation is Tony Khan is overpaying for Swerve Strickland because he has to. Because how embarrassing is it going to be if Swerve Strickland, Daniel Garcia, MJF, all these guys just like, sayonara, pal, go into the WWE? You know, like, yeah, they'll end up in the long run. They would end up making more money at WWE. You know, with merchandise and ticket sales and all that stuff. Versus AEW, where it's just like, here's $6 million guaranteed. Where in WWE, it's like, okay, we'll give you $3 million guaranteed, and then you'll make $3 million elsewhere. You know, like I would take the $6 million guaranteed and work one night a week too. If I was Swerve Strickland, like, you know, if Swerve Strickland was like, and then WWE's not wrong for saying like, hey, this guy's not worth that money. Swerve Strickland is not drawing houses. For AEW, Swerve Strickland's not drawing 5,000 people to an arena. If Swerve Strickland was drawing 5,000 people to an arena and selling merchandise, then yeah, I'd be like, okay, yeah, WWE, go give him $9 million. Let him jump Cody after Cody loses the title to whoever, to Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania. Yeah. Let Swerve Strickland come out and just beat the hell out of Cody, you know?
Yeah, what more do we say on that? Like, it's AEW though. That's the thing. Like now they have to overpay, right? Because the WWE being a jail thing and the whole thing about, oh well, WWE bad. This is the place to be. Oh my god, Tony's got big pockets. Oh my god, I'm getting payday and it's better coming. Whatever. it's not really a thing. So to retain the talent, like the key ones, you do overpay. This is a bit, yeah, I don't know. Good for Swerve. Good on him. I like Swerve. I've nothing negative to say. Just like, yeah,
Yeah, I like him
take
too.
the money, I guess, go for it. But yeah, bit some of the agendas that can come out of this. So I was like, okay, sure.
I know it's nuts. Oh, before we go, can we talk Mercedes Monet real quick?
What do you want to say? As we bashed Mercedes verbally like last 3 podcasts.
I know. I just want to say that I listened to her personal writer. I listened to like excerpts of her doing an interview with Aubrey Edwards. And bro, I can't believe that woman is making like $1 million to write.
That's right, because she's getting the writer's getting paid.
Yeah.
Racks, yeah.
Making like $1 million allegedly to write promos for Mercedes Moné. And in the interview, she's like, I know nothing. Basically said, I know nothing about wrestling. I came from soap operas. I write shows like they're soap opera. I write promos for Mercedes like she's in a soap opera. And I was just like, this is the lady that Tony Khan gave $1 million to. I'm like, bro, can I get paid $1 million? Can I just go say, hey, I'm a good writer? Can I get $1 million? Like,
what do you say to that? Like, that's just like he has money, great. Should you be spending $1 million? Mercedes, well, I'm not coming to the company if my writer's not making good money. I'd say Mercedes, go WWE then. See ya. if I'm like, if you won't come in because I'm not willing to pay this person who's nothing about wrestling $1 million will spy. See ya. I'll have Tony Storm be the face of my division. Who cares? See ya. Like, unbelievable. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. All right, pal. Well, let's put this one to bed. Well, I can go to bed. Yeah. So, any final like reminiscent? Anything you want to?
Look, we'll see what happens from here. IE probably gonna be another Elite Heat show for a while. If and when there is one, we'll see what we drum it up and advertise, or we just like we post out of the blue like some creators do. Who knows? But for the mostly consistent, besides 2022, last 4 years we've had, it's been great fun. It's been a blast. As much as obviously for me this year got pushed down the priorities list because of everything I had going on. I love recording. I love entertaining, chatting wrestling, entertaining the people. So yeah, anything from you, pal?
I love it too, man. I wish I could just dedicate an hour every week and and just talk. I wish I could do it. Just man, it's gonna get crazy here. I know my life's gonna keep changing. It sucks, it was fun. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back one day, pal. Better, bigger, better, badder than ever.
You'll probably have like a giant beard. You'll have like this big house. You'll be like swearing, like in the oven. You'll be like, "Hey, yo, all the F's up there." I'm like, "Whoa, what's up, people?" It's Jimmy with K Dog in the house for our show.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, yeah, that's it for this one. Peace.